Chapter 3759. Luli decided to go to the immortal region to fight. There were many reasons for this. First of all, Lord Yun had done him a great favor. If he couldn't do it, then so be it. If he had the chance, he would save them. Also, Emperor of Yu and the others were still in the hands of the Bei family. He needed to save them as well. Also, Grim Reaper had lost so many people. How could he not seek revenge? Emperor Mo died to protect his family. How could he just sit back and do nothing? The most important reason was that Luli had found a way to integrate the law of ice and snow with the cold air. He could spread the cold air to an area of 30 miles in an instant. If he continued to study it, it wouldn't be a problem to cover an area of more than 5,000 miles. Once he could cover an area of more than 5,000 miles, he would at least have the ability to protect himself. Not even a realm lord could kill him. Anyone that dared to come close to him would be frozen. He wanted to give it a try. He didn't want to live the life of being hunted and running from place to place. If he could kill Bei Xian and the king of the western region, he would be able to soar to the sky and become the new realm lord. He would be able to look down on the entire world. In that case, no powerful warriors could threaten his family and people. He wouldn't have to live in fear anymore. For his family and people, for himself, he wanted to take the risk. There was no point in hiding anymore. What else could he do other than become more proficient in using the law of ice and snow? The longer he delayed, the more dangerous it would be for Lord Yun and Emperor of Yu. Therefore, he had to go. He teleported to the edge of the chaotic star region. When he was out, he asked Little White to control the Spectre ship. Little White was excited to know that Lu Li was going to the immortal region. Then, he asked with concern, "Boss, are you sure? Once we enter the immortal region, we might be discovered by Bei Xian scouts. The eastern region is not the eastern region of my family." "Don't worry," Lu Li said with his eyes closed. "It will take us 2 months to get to the immortal region. If I can make great progress in using the cold air, I will be able to protect myself. Even if Bei Xian and the king of the western region come together, I will be fine." "Ah." Little White was surprised. "Boss, go cultivate. I will protect you. Let's go to the immortal region and F***CK them." Luli sat with his legs crossed. He thought about it and decided to use the almighty artifact to check on Lord Yun first. In the end, he discovered that Lord Yun wasn't the only one on the city wall. There was also the Feather Emperor and the others. In addition, there was also the Feather Son, Mo Qianqian, Wan, and Shili. All of them were nailed to the city wall. "What's wrong, boss?" Little White asked nervously when it saw Luli trembling, his face turning pale and killing intent surging around him. Whoosh, whoosh, Luli took a deep breath and told Little White not to ask any more questions. Right at that moment, a man appeared on the city wall. It was Bei Luan. He put his hands behind his back and said with a smile, "Luli, I know you can hear me. Do you want to save them? If you don't want to save them, I'll send them on their way today." Lord Yun was always being watched by a perfect realm warrior. Last time when Luli tried to probe, the perfect realm warrior sensed it. Since Luli had used the third eye to check, how could Bei Xian and Bei Luan miss such a chance? They nailed Emperor of Yu and the others to the city wall at once. They also captured Yu Yang and the others from the eastern region and nailed them to the city wall together, waiting for Luli to check again. Those people were miserable and they were all unconscious. Bei Luan had been keeping them awake in case something bad would happen. Bei Luan knew that the Bei family was in a critical situation. Too many powerful warriors of the Bei family had passed away. Bei Xian could not recover fully, let alone progress. If it were not for the fact that the Kuan realm and the eastern region had no master and all the forces were fighting over them, some forces would have been planning to take over the northern region. Therefore, they must get the third eye, an almighty artifact. At the very least, it could serve as a deterrent. Bei Xian could use the third eye to get other almighty artifacts and search for Lu Xiaobai. The perfect realm warrior could sense it at all times. As soon as Lu Li used the third eye, the perfect realm warrior could sense it. Then, Bei Luan appeared and talked to Lu Li. After a moment of silence, Lu Li asked, "What do you want?" "It's simple," Bei Luan said with a smile. "You know what we want. It doesn't matter if we kill these warriors or you. As long as we get what we want, we can let them go. Do you think I'm stupid? Luli replied, if I go over, you will kill me in an instant. Let them go. If you let them go, you can take them back or hunt them down. They're going to die anyway. Why should I give it to you? Balin said with a smile. Then tell me. We will do it however you want. What do you think is the safest? Let go of half of them to show your sincerity. Luli said after some thoughts. You are not stupid, and neither am I. Balin refused firmly. If we're going to talk, then we must show some sincerity. If you don't want to do it, I can kill 2 of them right now. Who do you want to die? Let me know. Balin took out a saber and swung it around the heads of Emperor of Feather and the others. The saber glared coldly, as if it could kill a warrior in the next second. Luli sighed and said, Okay, I will think about it. Give me a couple of days. I am in the Ice Queen's palace now. It will take me some time to get out. Sure. Balin said straightforwardly. How about this? I'll give you 1 month. If you still haven't made up your mind in 1 month, I'll kill one. If you still haven't made up your mind after 2 months, I'll kill the second one. I'll keep killing until there's no one left. Whoosh. With that said, Balin left the city wall. He was not in a hurry. He could afford to waste time, but Luli could not. Balin didn't want to push Luli too hard. He believed that Luli would make the exchange as long as he could think of a safer way. Balin would make the exchange no matter what because the hostages were meaningless, including Lord Yin. Lord Yin had tried all kinds of torture methods, but he could not get Little White's whereabouts. Lord Yin had sealed that part of his memory, and there was a self-destruct mechanism in his soul. Once Lord Yin's soul was searched, it would explode. Therefore, Lord Yin was useless. Otherwise, they wouldn't have hung Lord Yin on the city wall to attract Lu Xiaobai. Balin was willing to hand over the hostages to Lu Li as long as he could get the third eye. Of course, he would find a way to leave a tracking mark. If there was a chance, he would go after Lord Yin in case there would be trouble in the future. Lord Yin was powerful as well. The Bei family would pay the price for letting the tiger go back to the mountain. Luli was in deep thoughts, while Lu Xiaobai paced around anxiously. Little White knew that something was wrong, and he was worried, because Luli refused to tell him. After an hour, Luli opened his eyes and said, Lord Yin has been captured. Emperor of Feather, Yu Yang, Mo Qianqian, and the others are all at the North King City. But don't worry, Little White. I have some ideas. I can use them to lure all the warriors at the Bei family to the place I want and capture them all at once. Chapter 3760. After flying for a month, Luli didn't think about how to exchange hostages. Instead, he continued to study how to use the cold air. He wasn't afraid that the Bei family would kill the hostages. As long as he agreed, the Bei family wouldn't touch the hostages. The Bei family cared more about the third eye. A month later, Luli finished cultivation on time and used his almighty artifact to check. Balin was waiting for him. He even took out his saber. If Luli didn't check with psychic power, Balin would really kill one of the hostages. Luli, what do you say? How about I kill one of the hostages as a sacrifice? Balin asked casually. Actually, Luli hadn't used psychic power for a month. Balin was nervous, fearing that Luli wouldn't do the exchange. What was the point of killing the hostages? Would killing them make them feel better? Not really, Luli said after a pause. I will do the exchange with you. But I need time. It will take me at least half a year to get to the northern region. I haven't figured out how to do it yet. Give me some time. I will contact you in half a year. If you dare to kill one of the hostages, don't even think about getting the third eye. I would rather destroy it than give it to you. No problem. Balin breathed in relief. As long as Luli agreed to the exchange, then there wouldn't be any problems. Half a year was just a blink of an eye. It wouldn't make a difference. Balin said after a pause, No problem. 8 months it is. If you don't have any definite information in 8 months, then I will kill half of the hostages. I am a man of my word. Bring all the hostages in. Look, Balin waved his hand. Several patriarchs rushed over and brought all the hostages in. They didn't go to the dungeon. They just went to the governor's mansion and found a castle. Then, a warrior at the consummate realm and 2 warriors who were infinitely close to the consummate realm guarded the castle. Luli was relieved after a quick check. He went back to cultivation to learn how to use the cold air. The battleship flew away quickly. After another 2 months, the battleship arrived near the entrance to the immortal region. Luli asked Little White not to go in yet and stopped nearby. There was still time. He needed to continue his cultivation. Without strength, it would be very dangerous to enter the immortal realms. But with strength, one would be able to roam freely in the immortal realms. Right now, his cold chi could instantly envelop a radius of 2,000 miles, but it was still far from enough. The speed of a great perfection deity was too freakish. 1,000 kilometers was not enough, but 5,000 kilometers would be very stable. At the very least, self-preservation would not be a problem. The battleship stopped 1,000,000 miles away from the entrance of the immortal realm. The Spectre ship wouldn't be able to detect it unless it was at the Paragon stage. Now that the battleship had more than 10 divine rune arrays set up, even a Realm King wouldn't be able to break through after a few attacks. Little White had been checking the surroundings. It would wake Luli up at once if anything happened. Soon, 3 months had passed. Luli suddenly opened his eyes. He put Little White into his interspatial artifact and waved his hands. Cold air came out from his hands, but the cold air did not spread out. The natural energies from all directions surged towards him like a geyser. Snowflakes began to fall from the sky in a radius of 10,000 miles. The snowflakes were very large, and the sky was filled with snowflakes. The temperature in an area with a radius of 3,000 miles dropped at once, and at a horrifying speed. The space in all directions instantly froze, and a huge iceberg appeared out of thin air within a radius of 10,000 miles. Moreover, with this iceberg as the center, the space was still rapidly freezing. In the time for a dozen breaths, the iceberg had expanded to a radius of 10,000 miles. In a real sense, it had become a super iceberg. Well, the Spectre ship that Luli was on was frozen. Because of the divine rune, the Spectre ship was not affected. Luli checked and was satisfied. He shouted, "Blood Fairy, activate the divine rune." Buzzing, the divine rune was activated. Luli dashed out. He used his realm of Dharma to absorb the cold air around him. As a result, the ice melted automatically. Luli's flying speed was not affected. He waved his hands and poured out cold air. The cold air penetrated through the ice. Everywhere the cold air passed, the ice became thicker and firmer. Luli believed that not even a warrior infinitely close to a great perfection deity would be able to crack open the ice. Luli swam around quickly, pouring out cold air. He moved like a ghost, moving faster and faster. He was swimming around like a fish. After one round, Luli stopped. The realm of Dharma spun and sucked in the cold air from all sides. Then, the ice disappeared and turned into a thick fog. The sky was shrouded in the fog. Boy, Luli used his source of energy. With him as the center, a surge of air swept out. The fog dissipated quickly. Soon, the surrounding space returned to normal. Luli stood in the air, satisfied. The cold air and the law of ice and snow were integrated. At the very least, he had a way to protect himself. He was not afraid to face a great perfection realm warrior. Time to go. Luli dashed into the Spectre ship and let Little White out. He said seriously, "Little White, find a secret area nearby and hide for a while. It is pointless for you to go with me. Instead, you'll be in danger." "Boss, are you confident?" Little White asked. "Do you think it is possible that we will run into danger?" Little White's meaning was clear. If Luli was in danger, then Little White would go with him. If not, then what was the point? Luli forced a smile and said, "I am confident, but there will be risks. If I die, you can cultivate for a while and reach the great perfection realm. You can avenge me and take care of the Lu family for me, right? Do you think that is possible?" Little White looked at Luli seriously and said, "Boss, do you think I can cultivate in peace when you are dead? Do you think I have a chance to reach the great perfection realm?" "Boss, have you forgotten that I have the East King Tower? I can go into the East King Tower when you are fighting, and it can help you in times of need." "Sure." Luli forced a smile. Eventually, he nodded and said, Okay, let us fight together again. If we're going to die, we will die together. Lu Li and Little White had fought side by side many times. Little White had saved him many times, and Lu Li had saved him many times as well. The man and the beast had fought bloody battles many times, and they had narrowly escaped death many times. Little White's personality was like this. If Lu Li died, Little White would not be in the mood to cultivate, let alone reach the great perfection realm. By then, Little White would be all alone and would probably have to fight to the death with the enemies, staining the immortal region with blood. Lu Li was confident now. Little White had the East King Tower, the treasure of the East King. At least, it would be hard for a warrior at the Great Perfection Realm to break it. Also, he could take Little White into the Dharma Realm at any time, so it was not too dangerous. Boss, I am not far from reaching the Great Perfection Realm. Maybe I can do it during the battle? Little White grinned and waved his hand. Us two brothers can work together and conquer the entire immortal region. Let's go. Remember the mobile website. Chapter 3761. At the entrance of the Eastern region, Lu Li took Little White into the Dharma realm. Then, he used skill of transfiguration to become a regular Saint Emperor warrior, an old man of a strange race. He disguised his breath of life. He had the key to enter the immortal domain, so he swaggered into the immortal domain. There were many martial artists at the entrance, and there were also many scouts. Bei Luan had arranged for some scouts to be stationed here, but he didn't arrange for perfected ones. Since Lu Li had agreed to the exchange, it was unnecessary to send a complete warrior here to alert the enemy. Many forces had sent scouts here as well, mainly to track Lu Xiao by. When Lu Li went in, he felt at least hundreds of psychic powers were locked on him. He sensed that there were no complete warriors, which put him at ease. He didn't do anything. He just walked out slowly. If there were no warriors to stop him, he would fly to the northern region after leaving this area. Stop! As soon as he walked down the mountain, he was stopped by several scouts. They were all powerful scouts, all Saint Kings. They stared at Lu Li covetously. Lu Li hesitated. He didn't swallow his anger. He didn't release any cold air either. Several drops of energy of destruction flew out from his hand and went into the bodies of the three Saint Emperors. The three Saint Emperors could not stand the energy of destruction. They fell to the ground and rolled around. Lu Li flew for tens of thousands of miles and then left stealthily. The Eastern region was no longer the Eastern region of Little White's family. Lu Li didn't worry too much. The three Saint Emperors wanted to stop him. He didn't care which family they were from. He would just kill them. Go after him. Many scouts flew up and went after Lu Li. Unfortunately, Lu Li's art of concealment could not be detected by regular scouts. They lost track of Lu Li after searching for a while. After Lu Li traveled for thousands of miles, he let Little White out. He took out the specter and swaggered toward the northern region. The specter was fast. Also, only the perfect warriors could sense the specter. There were only so many of them in the immortal region. They couldn't travel all over the world. Therefore, it was unlikely that they would be found, unless they were unlucky. But Lu Li wouldn't be afraid even if they were found. He could seal the average perfect warriors. Lu Li wasn't afraid of any of the perfect ones at the Eastern region or the Northern region, because there was no consummate fire element. It wasn't that there weren't any consummate fire element. There were 4 in the entire immortal region. 2 were in the battle realm, 1 was in the southern region, and the last one was in the western region. Only those at the consummate level of the fire series could restrain him. Therefore, Lu Li was confident that he could kill Bei Xian and sweep across the entire northern region. The warship advanced quickly and silently. Its speed was extremely fast, and it even flew high up in the sky. The cultivators below could not detect it at all. This place was quite a distance away from North Royal City. Fortunately, Spectre's ship was fast. If they flew in a straight line, it would take them about 3 months to arrive. Family Patriarch, a mysterious expert, has broken into the entrance of the eastern region of Immortal Realm. This expert has strange venom and powerful stealth skills. It should be Lu Li. In an underground palace in the North King's city, Bei Luan reported to Bei Xian who was in closed-door cultivation. During this period of time, Bei Xian had been in seclusion, trying to adapt to his new physical body and raise his combat strength. This fleshly body was much weaker than his previous fleshly body, and there was no way for him to improve his strength. He just needed to grind for a period of time, and his fleshly body's combat power would recover a lot. Well, it will take him some time to get here. Bei Xian nodded. He didn't worry too much. It was just Lu Li. If he hadn't escaped to the Ice Palace, Lu Li would have been killed a long time ago. Since Lu Li was here to exchange hostages, then it was pointless for Bei Xian to do anything. At the very least, the Eye of Heaven must be sent over. As for the pursuit, Bei Xian didn't want to worry about it. Bei Lun would take care of it. Anything else? Bei Xian opened his eyes and asked before Bei Lun left. Bei Lun thought about it and said with a frown, "According to the information from our spies at the southern region, something is wrong at the South King City." South King City? Bei Xian blinked and asked, "What is wrong with the South King City?" "I think," Bei Lun said with uncertainty, "the Yu family seems to be quietly moving their elite disciples. It is covert, but they have found something. Also, the higher-ups of the Yu family are clearly retreating. Powerful warriors are being mobilized to the South King City. Almost all the warriors stationed outside have been moved back. The higher-ups of the Yu family are in a panic." "Oh." Bei Xian was surprised. He thought for a moment and asked, "Where is Yu Shu? Where is he? Didn't we see him when we attacked Old Man Yin last time?" "I suspect something might have happened." Bei Lun said, "Last time, he said he had another clue to follow. But there was no news after so long. If nothing happened to Yu Shu, the Yu family would not be in such a situation." "Impossible." Bei Xian shook his head and said, "The current situation in the immortal region is already turbulent enough. Over there, maybe they will not allow the chaos to continue. Also, Yu Shu is not weak. Who can kill him? The other realm kings will not go crazy. Why would they kill Yu Shu for no reason? Keep asking. It is best to ask the great supreme patriarch of the Yu family." Bei Lun nodded slightly. He was a bit shaken. After all, that was the king of the southern region. How could he die so easily? He went out to give some instructions and then didn't bother about the southern region anymore. The most important thing now was to get the Eye of Heaven and then use it to track down Lu Xiaobai. Lu Li had been flying over. Thanks to the Spectre ship, he was not discovered. Bei Xian didn't send any Great Perfection Realm warriors to track down Lu Li. The Bei family didn't have many Great Perfection Realm warriors to begin with. As long as Lord Yun and Emperor Yu could keep an eye on them, Lu Li would send the Eye of Heaven over. Time flew by. Soon, a month had passed. Lu Li had entered the northern region. The chaos of the eastern region didn't affect him. It was safer in the northern region. As long as he could avoid the big cities, there were no warriors in the wild. His battleship was less likely to be discovered. During this time, Lu Li had been studying the integration of coldness and ice laws. He had become more proficient. He had been thinking for more than a month and had come up with a strategy to exchange hostages. He chose a mountain in the central part of the northern region. The mountain was millions of miles away from the two nearby cities. There were almost no races nearby. It was a suitable place for a fight. Chirping Insect Mountain. There were many bugs in the mountain. They would not stop chirping at night. Many of the bugs here were poisonous. It was a famous mountain nearby. Another 7 or 8 days later, Lu Li told Little White to put away the Spectre ship. Then he sneaked into the Chirping Insect Mountain with Little White. Blood Fairy set up the formation. Lu Li walked around the mountain, making sure that there were no warriors around. He ignored the poisonous bugs and asked Blood Fairy to set up the formation. He needed the formation to delay the enemy's attacks so that they could cooperate with him and kill all the enemies. That was right. Lu Li never thought about exchanging hostages peacefully. He never thought about handing over the Eye of Heaven. He wanted to use the hostage exchange as an opportunity to kill all the Great Perfection Realm warriors of the Bei family. Remember the mobile website. Chapter 3762. Chirping Mountain. In the underground castle of the North King City, Bei Xian took out the map after hearing the report. He thought for a moment and asked, "What did he say?" He said that our consummate warriors cannot go within 1,000,000 miles of Chirping Mountain. Beiluan said, he asked us to send some warriors who are infinitely close to consummate warriors to bring the hostages over. He said that our consummate warriors can control the area within 1,000,000 miles. When the hostages arrive, he will hand over the third eye to our patriarch. That's it. Bei Xian frowned and shook his head. How can he get away if that's the case? Well, have we sent scouts? Is he setting up a formation at Chirping Mountain? We have, but we haven't received any news yet. Beiluan said after some thought, I think he will set up a formation at Chirping Mountain. When the hostages are rescued, he will teleport away with them. Otherwise, he won't dare to do the exchange. That's right. A smile appeared on Bei Xian's face as he said, You want to escape? Aren't you thinking too much? Go personally and gather 10 great perfection deities to set up a sky lock grand formation near Chirping Insect Mountain. Lock down the space within a radius of 500,000 kilometers so that he won't be able to teleport away when he tries to escape. Ha ha ha. Okay. Beiluan smiled. Luli was moving in the dark, and they were crossing the sea by deceiving the world. The Heavenlock formation was difficult to set up. It required several consummate warriors to work together. Therefore, not many people knew about it. The Sky Lock Great Formation used the Heaven-Earth essence energy to forcefully seal off a region. Since even space was sealed, it was impossible to teleport away. Family Patriarch, Beiluan asked. He said the exchange will be in a month. Do you want to go? Yes. Bei Xian nodded. I haven't shown myself for a long time. I have almost recovered. I will go with you to stabilize the morale. Beiluan nodded and left. Bei Xian's physical body was destroyed. The battle at the North King City had tarnished his reputation. If not for the fact that they had recruited a group of great perfection deities in the eastern region, as well as Jin Yin and the others, the Bei family would not have been able to suppress the large clans in the northern region after losing so many great perfection deities this time. Beiluan began to send messages, asking Jin Yin and the others to act in secret, as well as the great perfection deities who had come to seek refuge from the eastern region. After some thought, he also mobilized a few great perfection deities from the northern region. This time, he did not want any more accidents. If they let Luli escape this time, the Bei family would be disgraced. There were scouts from all over the North King City. His conversations with Li must have been overheard by someone. The news of this mission must have spread as well. At that time, the matter of Insect Chirping Mountain would attract the attention of various forces. There would probably be scouts rushing over there now, right? This time, 10 great perfection deities were enough. Now that Beiluan had gathered 13, including himself and Bei Xian, the number of great perfection deities would reach 15. He had also mobilized 10 experts who were infinitely close to the consummate realm to guard the entrance to the eastern border immortal realm. In case Luli escaped, they could seal the entrance. It would be easier to track Luli down in the immortal realm. It's about time. After more than 10 days of work, Beiluan and Bei Xian went to report and secretly teleported over with the hostages. He had to meet with the other great perfection deities to discuss the Heavenlock formation. He asked Bei Xian to come over a dozen days later. He teleported to a big city near Insect Chirping Mountain. As soon as he entered the city, he went invisible and strolled to a mountain outside. There was a cave in the mountain. He went in and sensed more than a dozen warriors inside. All the great perfection deities he had gathered were here. Lord Beiluan. The other great perfection deities gathered around. Beiluan said, Don't show yourselves. Luli has the third eye. If we don't show ourselves, he won't be able to find us. Those great perfection deities didn't show themselves. Beiluan went in and gave them some instructions. Jin Yin was there. He said impatiently, Lord Beiluan, aren't you being too cautious? Now that we know Li is at Insect Chirping Mountain, why don't we just go there together? There's so many great perfection deities. Can Luli fly away? It will be too easy to kill him. Haha. A great perfection deity of the northern region sneered. You, Jin Yin, are impressive. If I remember correctly, it was Luli who split the Purple Mountain, wasn't it? Are you courting death? Jin Yin, Enough! Balin pulled a long face and scolded. This concerns the primary relic, the Eye of Heaven. We must be careful. After a while, the Realm King will come out from cultivation and take command in person. If you mess up the Realm King's matter, you will have to think about the consequences. Keep your spirits up and move according to the location I give you. Quietly build the Heavenlock formation. Be careful. None of you can show yourselves. If Luli finds out and he escapes, the Realm King will be furious. Balin gave a detailed explanation. The great perfection deities remembered and left secretly. Balin went back to a big city nearby. The top scouts reported what they had found. They had found Luli and were sure that he was at Insect Chirping Mountain. They also noticed that Insect Chirping Mountain had been covered with complicated runes. There were runes everywhere. The scouts didn't dare to go up. They would be discovered by Luli as soon as they went up, and they might be killed by the runes. It doesn't matter. Balin didn't care. What was the point of more runes? As long as he had the Eye of Heaven, he could crush the runes easily. Luli would be like a turtle trapped in a jar if he couldn't teleport away under the Heavenlock formation. He could be killed however he wanted. Balin asked the scouts to keep an eye on Luli again. He began to build the Heavenlock formation with more than a dozen Great Perfection Realm warriors. When the Heavenlock formation was built, there would be no noise. Once it was activated, the noise would be alarming. Balin wasn't afraid that Luli would notice. Haha! Inside Insect Chirping Mountain, Luli sat on the peak with his legs crossed. There were runes all around him. Many of them were glowing. They had been activated. He had been using the Eye of Heaven to check. When he found that at least a dozen Great Perfection Realm warriors at the northern region were missing, he didn't panic. Instead, he was delighted. This was a rare opportunity. With so many Great Perfection Realm warriors here, he could capture them all at once. Otherwise, it would be troublesome for him to go after them one by one. It wouldn't be so easy. Given his current abilities, it was hard for him to hunt down a Great Perfection Realm warrior. He knew that there must be many Great Perfection Realm warriors nearby. Those Great Perfection Realm warriors didn't act recklessly. Of course, to prevent a sneak attack from a Great Perfection Realm warrior, Luli had activated some runes. Under a sneak attack from a Great Perfection Realm warrior, the runes could withstand it for a while. Let's see if Bei-Xian will come or not. Luli only had one worry left. If Bei-Xian didn't come, then it would be troublesome. No matter how many Great Perfection Realm warriors he killed, it would not be as intimidating as Bei-Xian. If he could kill Bei-Xian along with a group of Great Perfection Realm warriors, then the entire immortal region would be in awe. Chapter 3763. Bei-Xian is here. More than a dozen days later, Luli saw Bei-Xian fly out from the underground castle. Luli grinned. Bei-Xian could not wait any longer, or he was worried and decided to come in person. Luli was relieved that Bei-Xian was here. Otherwise, he would have to go to the North King City. With so many perfect warriors killed, Bei-Xian might go into hiding. How difficult would it be to find a perfect warrior in the vast northern region? Blood Fairy had finished setting up the divine inscription spell formation. She had set up a few large ones, as well as a few smaller ones. Little White was in the small formation, which was stronger than the larger ones. Even if several perfect warriors were to attack together, Little White could hold on for some time. Luli was not in the small formation. He stood outside on purpose to distract and Bei's family. He wanted to use himself as bait to lure the perfect warriors of the Bei family over. The result was good. There were at least a dozen at the northern region. Even though they were all in hiding, Luli was 80% sure that they were here. A day later, Bei-Xian teleported over. Bei-Luan and the city master came to greet him. Bei-Luan had been hiding. As soon as Bei-Xian arrived, he did the same. The city master led them into a secret room. Since Luli had the third eye, they did not show themselves even when they were in the secret room. Is everything ready? Bei-Xian asked. Bei-Luan nodded. The Lock of Heaven is ready. All the perfect warriors are in place. Tens of thousands of scouts are here. An area with a radius of hundreds of millions of miles has been locked down. Is there anything unusual on Luli's side? Bei-Xian asked. He has been at the Chirping Insect Mountain. Bei-Luan explained. He has built many divine runes, very powerful ones. The scouts cannot go up, and they don't dare to investigate at will for fear of alerting the enemy. They can only be sure that he has been here and has made some arrangements. Arrangements, Wei Xian said with a smile. When we get the third eye, we will activate the lock of heaven. No matter what he has done, he will not be able to get away from me. All right, act according to your plan. I will observe from the shadows and make my move when necessary. Okay. Wei Luan went down to prepare because there were only 2 days left until Lu Li's appointed time. He had to make sure that nothing went wrong. There were many scouts from the various realms in the immortal realm. If Lu Li escaped this time, the Bei clan's prestige would be completely destroyed, and they would become the joke of the entire immortal realm. Their position as the king of the northern region would also be unstable. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. Bei Luan's figure flashed as he summoned 10 experts who were infinitely close to the paragon level. After that, the spatial divine item shone brightly, and Lord Yun, Yu Huang, Yu Yang, and the others were released one by one. Lord Yun and the others had all woken up. Their physical bodies had recovered quite well, but their elixirs had all been shattered and their physical bodies had been sealed. At this moment, they were lying on the ground in a terrible state. Xiao, Bei Luan's body flickered as he smacked the heads of the martial artists. These martial artists, including Lord Yun, fainted once again. Bei Luan waved his hand, and a few elders took out their spatial artifacts and stored the martial artists inside. Bei Luan then instructed, Bei Ning, do you remember what I told you before? Now that we have the third eye, we cannot let all the hostages go. If Lu Li doesn't agree, then we will kill them one by one. Yes, Chief Patriarch. An old man nodded. Then, he waved his hand and left the city with 9 other patriarchs. They flew toward the chirping mountain quickly. They swaggered away, attracting the attention of many scouts. The scouts' eyes glowed. The exchange was about to begin. Bei Luan snuck away to take charge of the Heaven Lock formation. Bei Xian came out as well and snuck toward the chirping mountain quietly. He wanted to see Lu Li die with his own eyes. If there was a chance, he would show off his skills to prove that his abilities had been restored so that he could deter all the warriors of the northern region. As for Lu Li, he didn't care too much about him. Lu Li was just a Saint King, the most powerful warrior below the level of the northern region. As far as Bei Xian was concerned, all warriors below the level of the Saint King were nonentities. At best, Lu Li was just a slightly more powerful one. Soon, Bei Xian arrived at the foot of the chirping mountain. It was a dark day, and the chirping mountain kept on chirping. From afar, Bei Xian could hear the chirping of countless insects. When the chirping was mixed together, it was like a beautiful piece of music. Standing at the foot of the mountain, Bei Xian didn't dare to use psychic power. He used his connection with heaven and earth to sense the situation on the chirping mountain. He sensed something, and soon he had an idea because he sensed the presence of 2 living beings on the chirping mountain. One of them was an immortal beast, and he was vaguely familiar with it. Heaven-swallowing beast. Bei Xian was overjoyed. He sensed again and was sure that it was the presence of a heaven-swallowing beast. The presence of a heaven-swallowing beast was unique. There were only 2 in the entire immortal region. One was dead. Needless to say, this one was Lu Xiaobai. It seems that Lu Xiaobai went to find Lu Li after he escaped. Lu Li was silly enough to bring the heaven-swallowing beast here. Ha, ha, ha. I can wear out iron shoes in fruitless search, but I found it by chance without even looking for it. Bei Xian almost wanted to laugh out loud. Lu Xiaobai was a thorn in his side. He had been worried that Lu Xiaobai would hide for thousands or tens of thousands of years. When Lu Xiaobai broke through to the realm of absolute completion, the first person he would kill would be Bei Xian. Right now, Lu Xiaobai's presence was still weak. Clearly, he had not broken through to the realm of absolute completion. Absolute completion warriors were everywhere. They had 15. Lu Xiaobai and Lu Li could not escape even if they had wings. How about activating the Heaven Lock directly? An idea flashed across Bei Xian's mind. If they activated the Heaven Lock now, they could force their way over and kill Lu Li and Lu Xiaobai. the third eye would still be his. After some consideration, Bei Xian decided to play it safe. What if Lu Li was driven to desperation? He was not afraid of Lu Li's abilities, but he was afraid that Lu Li would destroy the third eye. The divine artifact would be of great use to him. He knew some relics of the main immortals, but he could not go in. With the third eye, he could see what was going on inside. Maybe he could go in. Bei Xian held his breath and forced himself to calm down. Also, he found Bei Luan and told him that Little White was on the mountain. He told them to stay calm and get the third eye first. When they got it, they would activate the Heaven Lock and then kill Lu Xiaobai and Lu Li. Bei Ning flew to the top of the mountain with the 9 patriarchs. Hovering in the air, Bei Ning said, "I am Bei Ning, the 10th patriarch of the Bei family. I am here to exchange hostages under orders. Come down." Lu Li waved his hand. The shield revealed a gap. The 10 patriarchs flew down and the formation closed automatically. The 10 patriarchs fell into the formation. Little White didn't come out. Lu Li stood in the formation by himself, looking at the 10 patriarchs coldly. Lu Li, Bei Ning took out an interspatial artifact, and then Lord Yun came out. Bei Ning held him in his hand. Bei Ning said, "We have brought the hostages. Where's the third eye?" Buzzing, Lu Li took out a crystal ball and a map. The runes on the crystal ball and the map were complicated and the materials were of high quality. One look and Lu Li could tell that they were not the fake kind. Bei Ning and the other patriarchs took a closer look and said, "Let's do it. Let them go first. There are no conditions." Lu Li said indifferently, "Let them all go. I cannot run away anyway. If you don't let them go, I will destroy the third eye. Nobody can have it." Chapter 3764. Just let them go. Bei Ning pulled a long face. Bei Luan had told him that he would release half of the captives, and the other half would be released after Lu Li handed over the third eye. Otherwise, he would rather kill some. Bei Ning took out a saber and put it against Lord Yun's neck. He said, "Lu Li, do you think we don't dare to kill? If this is the case, then we cannot go on." "Then do it." Lu Li sneered and said, "If you kill one, I will destroy the third eye right away. I will not go back on my word. I cannot let them go, and they will all die in your hands. What else is there to say?" Bei Ning was hesitating. He knew how much Bei Luan valued the divine artifact. At this rate, if the divine artifact was really destroyed, then he would be held responsible. Bei Ning thought about it and said, "I will release half of the captives, and you give me one as well. There are 2 third eye, right? Let them go first." Lu Li said emotionlessly. Bei Ning made up his mind, waved his hand, and said, "Let some go first." Buzzing, several patriarchs' interspatial artifacts glowed. Lady Luan Shili, son of Feather, and Mo Qianqian were released. The patriarch threw them over. Lu Li caught them one by one and threw them into the small formation behind. Little White took out the East Tower and put Mo Qianqian and the others in. "Is this enough?" Bei Ning said emotionlessly. There were 9 of them, and 4 had been released. There were 5 left, almost half. Looking at the crystal ball in Lu Li's hand, Bei Ning said, "Give me the crystal ball first." "No," Lu Li said decisively. "Let them go. Let them all go, and I will give you the treasures right away. I know you are here. I think you are outside the mountain now. Without the third eye, I will be killed instantly. I am not that stupid." Bei Ning was enraged. He swung his saber and said, "Do you think we are stupid? I know you have a teleportation altar. What if we let them all go and you go back to the teleportation altar? Didn't we get nothing?" Lu Li actually wanted to freeze Bei Ning and the others with cold air and take the hostages. But he was afraid of alerting the enemies and scaring them away. He was also afraid that something might happen to the hostages. He could only force himself to say, "Since you can't make the decision, then ask your clan's grand elder, ask your clan's king. Tell them to release all the hostages. I will stay and only let them teleport away. I will give you the Eye of Heaven. I have no use for it." Bei Ning hesitated. Eventually, he used psychic power to check outside and sent Lu Li's words to a scout for Bei Luan. In fact, Bei Luan and Bei Xian were near Insect Chirping Mountain. Although they did not use their divine perception, they could hear the conversation inside through their connection with heaven and earth. Bei Xian was hesitating. He suspected that Lu Li might ask Lu Xiaobai to leave with all the hostages after the hostages were changed, and he would stay behind to cover the retreat. He would probably leave Heaven's Eye behind. Otherwise, none of them would be able to escape. In that case, Lu Xiaobai might teleport away one step ahead of time, and it would take a lot of effort to chase after him. The problem was that if he didn't release the hostages, Lu Li might really destroy the Eye of Third God. Without the Eye of Third God, how could he find the other over-God artifacts in the ruins? Family Patriarch, Bei Luan suddenly said, I have done something to Master Yun and the hostages' souls. I can tell where they are going. How about we let the hostages go? Then let them go, Bei Xian said without hesitation. Once we get the Eye of Third God, kill Lu Li at once, and then go after Lu Xiaobai and the others. Okay, Bei Luan said. Bei Ning received the order. He looked at Lu Li coldly and said, Lu Li, don't play any tricks. Even if they can escape, we will find them one by one and kill them all. Let them go. Lord Yun and King of Feather were thrown over. Lu Li caught them and checked them. Making sure they were fine, he threw them into the small formation behind. Little White took Lord Yun and the others into the East King Tower. Lu Li dashed into the small formation. He grinned, put Little White into the interspatial artifact, and then entered the magic realm. Buzzing, at the same time, the entire insect chirping mountain trembled. Following that, a red glare rose into the sky. Cold air rose from the ground as well. Many swords flew out toward Bei Ning and the others. This was the formation that Blood Fairy studied. Back in the days, she trapped Gangyu with this formation. Blood Fairy had modified this formation, making it more powerful. Bei Ning and the others were warriors close to the consummate realm. How could they stand it? They were slowed down. It was difficult for them to dodge the swords. Soon, 4 of them died, courting death. Bei Xian had been sensing the situation. He flew into a rage and said, activate the Skylock. Then, crack the formation and kill Lu Li. Buzzing, the wind and clouds were surging. Puffs of dark fog were condensing in the sky. Xianqi and heaven and earth swarmed in. The space with a radius of 3 million miles was shaking violently. Everything was enveloped by the dark fog. This place seemed to have become a boundless hell. The space was sealed. Boom, 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 boom. Bei Luan and the others were attacking the formation on the insect-chirping mountain. Horrifying moves were launched at the formation with astonishing energy. Over a dozen consummate realm warriors were attacking at the same time. It was not hard to imagine how powerful the attacks were. Many scouts were hiding in the area. Some were from the northern region, and some were from other realms. After the attacks for the consummate realm, they all stepped back in fear. The attacks from the consummate realm were so powerful. If they were even a little bit touched, they would be smashed into pieces. Boom, boom, boom. Although Blood Fairy's mastery of divine inscriptions had improved by leaps and bounds, the spell formation outside the barrier didn't last long. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, the light barrier shattered. Sadly for Bei Ning and the rest, they had long since been killed. Inside the formation was a smaller one that was more powerful. At the moment, the smaller one was glowing in red. Inside the red fog, not even psychic power could see what was inside. Whoosh, whoosh, Bei Luan and the others flew up and stood outside the small formation. Bei Luan took the lead and blasted at the small formation. Just now, they did not feel any ripples in space. It was possible that Lu Li was still inside the small formation. Once the small formation was broken, Lu Li would have nowhere to run. Bei Xian flew over quietly. He had been hiding, standing next to the other consummate realm warriors. The other consummate realm warriors had sensed his presence. Their attacks became more violent. Bei Xian put his hands behind his back and stared at the small formation. His eyes flickered. He was uncertain. There was no ripple in space. Lu Li should not have been teleported away. If so, what was the point of Lu Li's actions? What could he do by hiding in the small formation? Was he going to stop them with divine glyphs? Or was he going to kill them with divine glyphs? Isn't this a little too childish? Boom, boom, boom. The small formation did not last long. In less than an hour, the small formation was broken. Since the ground inside was not protected by any divine glyphs, the ground trembled under the impact of the attack. Dust rose up. The warriors checked with psychic power, but found nothing in the small formation. It was as if Lu Li had vanished in a thin air. Where did he go? The consummate realm warriors were surprised. They used psychic power to check for Lu Li. Right at that moment, a pair of hands suddenly emerged from the dust. The hands were filled with coldness, but the coldness vanished into thin air. Then, in an area with a radius of 3,000 miles, snow began to fall. Remember the website of the mobile version. Chapter 3765. It's snowing. Look, it's snowing at the chirping insect mountain. It's snowing so heavily. Wait, why do I feel so cold? Dozens of miles away from the chirping insect mountain, many scouts and warriors were lurking there to watch. They watched as a group of great perfection deities bombarded chirping insect mountain. Suddenly, heavy snow began to fall from chirping insect mountain. Furthermore, the temperature there suddenly dropped to a terrifying level. They could feel the cold seeping into their bones. What? In the next moment, they saw something even more horrifying. All the places around the chirping insect mountain that were covered by snow suddenly froze. The entire chirping insect mountain disappeared and turned into an iceberg. The great perfection warriors were gone as well. They were all covered by the iceberg. The space outside the iceberg was still being frozen. The iceberg was expanding. Crack, crack, crack. The nearby scouts felt that the temperature of the area they were in was still dropping. Many martial artists were shivering from the cold, and even their teeth were chattering. They did not dare to stay any longer. They all retreated quickly. Otherwise, they would all be frozen to death. The scouts had all retreated to a distance of 30,000 miles, but they still felt cold. That being said, they could endure it. They stared at the huge iceberg in the distance, wondering what was going on. In particular, the scouts from a northern region and some of the elders from the Bay family were even more bewildered. Among the dozen great perfection warriors, none was of the family of ice. They had never heard of anyone possessing powerful skills of the family of ice. Then, who was the one who released the law of ice? Why were so many great perfection warriors not doing anything? The distance was too far. They could not even use psychic power to investigate. They had no idea what was going on inside. Why were so many great perfection warriors not breaking the ice? What were they doing inside? Who was the one who released the laws of ice? They felt it was very powerful. At least, those who were close to the great perfection level would not be able to release such a powerful law of ice. So, it had to be a great perfection warrior. After some calculations, the scouts were taken aback. It seemed that a mysterious great perfection warrior was attacking Bei Xian. One great perfection warrior versus more than a dozen great perfection warriors. The more they calculated, the more panicked the scouts and warriors from the north were. More importantly, Bei Xian and the others were not doing anything. Could it be that all the great perfection warriors were frozen? Would something big happen? Not only were the scouts outside panicking, but the 15 great perfection deities from Chirping Insect Mountain were also panicking. The reason for that was because they were indeed frozen. Their bodies couldn't move, and their bodies were quickly being injured. Their souls were also being frostbitten. This kind of situation was truly unprecedented. What shocked them the most was that this attack was released by Lu Li. Lu Li had come out, and the East King Pagoda was by his side. He moved around with the East King Pagoda and poured out streams of cold air, lowering the temperature around them. They were more frozen and more seriously injured. How is that possible? Jin Yingang and Yu Tongxuan were in disbelief. They were lucky enough to survive the last battle. Of course, it had a lot to do with their cowardice. They knew Lu Li well, especially Gang Yu and Tong's son. They had watched Lu Li grow up. How long had it been since they last met? How could he have reached the consummate level of Ice Seal? Furthermore, he had frozen 15 great perfection deities in one go. Soul attacks. Release soul attacks. Bei Xian sent a message to the powerful warriors. They were all at the great perfection realm, and they knew something about soul attacks. Some of them were good at soul attacks. Even though they could not move their bodies, they could release soul attacks. As long as they could shatter Lu Li's soul, they could be free. The powerful warriors released soul attacks at once. Lu Li dashed into the East King Pagoda. Inside the East King Pagoda were a group of warriors. Lord Yun and the others were still in a coma. The East King Pagoda was spacious enough to accommodate dozens of people. The East King Pagoda was a piece of treasure that he had been refining for many years. It was meant for Little White to protect itself. The East King Pagoda was so strong that soul attacks could not penetrate it. The cold air was isolated in the East King Pagoda. Little White was not affected at all. He used psychic power to check the situation outside. He was so excited that he was trembling. When Lu Li came in, Little White grabbed Lu Li's hand nervously and asked, "Boss, how is it? Can you freeze all those at the Great Perfection Realm?" Lu Li used psychic power to check the situation outside. After a while, he said, "If I am not mistaken, it should be fine. Now, we need to see if there are any more at the Great Perfection Realm hiding nearby. If none of them come to the rescue, then we should be fine." Little White nodded. He kept checking the situation outside with psychic power. Many of those outside were his enemies who had killed his father. If he could be killed by those powerful warriors, his father would be able to rest in peace. Lu Li used psychic power to check the situation around the Chirping Insect Mountain. As long as no one at the Great Perfection Realm came to the rescue, then Bei Xian could be killed easily. Of course, even if there were, Lu Li could freeze them if he could find out in advance. He would not be afraid, no matter how many there were. Time passed quickly. Soon, the time for one incense stick to burn had passed. All the warriors at the Great Perfection Realm were frostbitten. Some were seriously injured. Their blood vessels burst. Their internal organs were ruptured. They could not use origin energy, and their souls were damaged as well. Bei Xian mobilized his origin energy to cover up his soul. At the same time, he said, "Use your origin energy to protect your souls. Don't worry about your bodies. Think of a way to ask warriors nearby to come to our rescue." None of the warriors at the Great Perfection Realm could move. Lu Li was in the East King Tower. Soul attacks were ineffective. Their origin energy was frozen and their bodies were hard. There was nothing they could do. They had to count on warriors outside to rescue them. If no warriors came to their rescue, they would all die in an hour at most. Of course, there was another way, which was to run away with their souls, just like what happened to the Lord of the Southern Lands. How many souls of more than a dozen at the Great Perfection Realm could Lu Li kill? The powerful warriors would not do that unless they had no other choice. Running away with their souls would make them vulnerable. Usually, warriors close to the Great Perfection Realm could kill them. Bei Xian, in particular, had rebuilt his body twice in a row. That would have a great impact on his abilities. They used psychic power to check. It just so happened that several patriarchs close to the Great Perfection Realm were wandering around. Those patriarchs were worried about Bei Xian and Bei Luan, which was why they took the risk to come here. Bei Xian sent a message to those patriarchs at once, telling them to attack the iceberg and rescue them. Those patriarchs were scared. They could not stand the cold air when they were close to the Chirping Insects Mountain. What was more, the ice seemed to be thick. Could they blast it open at will? But they could not disobey the family patriarch's order. They had to blast the iceberg with all their might from a distance. Boom, boom, boom. The patriarchs bombarded the iceberg violently. They found that it was working. The iceberg cracked piece by piece. Even though the cracking speed was slow, they could crack all the icebergs if they kept attacking. Come on, help. All warriors of the North region, come and help. Several warriors close to the Great Perfection Realm shouted. Scouts in the distance rushed over while enduring the cold air. They wanted to blast the iceberg open and rescue Bei Xian and the others. Chapter 3766. Whoosh, 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 there was a city 300,000 miles away. All the warriors above the Saint Emperor realm in the city were mobilized and flew toward the Chirping Mountain. They had all received the news that Bei Xian was in danger, and they were in urgent need of help. There were over 1,000 saint emperors and warriors close to the absolute realm. They flew over as fast as they could. It took them the time for one incense stick to burn to cover the 300,000 miles. They had all arrived. A corner of the iceberg had been blasted off. Luli's ice and snow covered an area with a radius of 3,000 miles. The iceberg had a radius of more than 10,000 miles. The iceberg had been blasted away for thousands of miles. Luli did nothing and let the warriors attack. It was too easy for him to freeze the iceberg again. He could release cold energy, and the iceberg that was blasted away would be frozen again. He had two purposes. The first was to stabilize Bei Xian and the others so that their souls would not escape and to give them a glimmer of hope. The second was that Blood Fairy was building formations underground. Luli needed time. Blood Fairy was not afraid of the cold. Back in the Ice Queen's palace, she could move freely. Luli had asked her to build new runes. This time, there was only one purpose, to trap the souls of Bei Xian and the others so that they could not escape. Such runes were easy to build. Unlike the physical body, souls had strong abilities. Luli just needed to build a rune to trap the souls, and everything would be fine. Therefore, Luli did not come out from the East King Tower and let the warriors outside attack at will. The patriarchs and the scouts were having a great time. If they could save Bei Xian and the others, it would be a great achievement. Therefore, even though the coldness was making them shiver and slowing down the flow of their origin energy, they were still attacking with enthusiasm. Quick, let's do it together. Reinforcements came from nearby cities. The patriarchs called them over. More than 1,000 warriors joined in. The ice cracked. If it were not for the fact that the ice was frozen by Lu Li's origin of coldness, it would have been smashed. The ice was frozen by the origin of coldness. It was strong. Not even an average Emperor Realm warrior could crack it. The layers of ice were blown to smithereens, and large chunks of ice slid down. Soon, they were blasted away for nearly 5,000 miles. The cultivators had no choice but to move closer. The cold chi became more and more terrifying. Many Saint Emperors found it hard to endure, but they gritted their teeth and continued to attack. Quick, increase the power. Use your strongest attack. Quick, quick! A few of the Bei family's elders roared as they attacked with all their might. Inside, Bei Xian and the others also seemed to see hope, because if they continued at this speed, they would be able to blast open the layer of ice they were in the time it takes for an incense stick to burn and rescue them. Their physical injuries were already very serious, and they could be considered to be in a half-crippled state. It was estimated that in another incense stick's time, their physical bodies would be severely injured, and they would have almost no combat strength for a short period of time. However, as long as they could be rescued and given a period of time, they would be able to fully recover. They were actually quite worried, and their divine wills were constantly locked onto the East King Pagoda. Luli was in the East King Tower. Would Luli come out and release that skill again? Luli could only release this skill once in a short period of time, or could it be released continuously? If it was the latter, then it would be troublesome. I think he can only do it once, right? Bei Xian thought to himself. Luli was only a Saint Emperor warrior. It was already incredible that he could release such a powerful skill. If he could do it continuously, then what would happen? The power system of the entire world would collapse. Not even a complete realm would be of any use. Could it be that Luli has some origin of ice and snow, and he used it to release the skill just now? Bei Xian thought about it again. This was the only explanation. Otherwise, how could a Saint Realm warrior release such a freakish cold air? Luli was chased into the Ice Queen's palace, which was why he obtained this strange skill. Bei Xian remembered that time when the statue lit up and an aura of an almighty immortal appeared, which scared him and Kuan Immo so much that they wet their pants. So, it must be that time when Luli obtained the legacy of the Ice Queen, some origin of ice and snow. In such a short period of time, Luli's realm was so low. Theoretically speaking, even if he had the incredible skill passed down by the Ice Queen, he could not have understood it and used it. Then, there was only one explanation. Luli had obtained some origin of ice, and he used it to freeze them. Family patriarch. Bei Xian heard Balin's voice. Family patriarch, that goblin of Luli is at the foot of the chirping mountain. She's going around. Is she trying to build a formation? Bei Xian used psychic power to check at once. Blood Fairy was indeed moving around in the ground, but he could not tell what she was doing. After a moment, Bei Xian said, "Let's use soul attacks together and kill that goblin, just in case." The group of great perfection deities hurriedly released their soul attacks, but something that shocked them happened. A yellow light suddenly lit up under Insect Chirping Mountain, isolating all their soul attacks outside. Their soul attacks could not penetrate that yellow surface of light. Oh no! Bei Xian's heart was weighed down. He had a bad feeling. Was Lu Li trying to trap their souls with a formation? Once their souls were trapped, there would be no way for them to run away. They would all die here. Bei Xian thought quickly. While he was hesitating, the East King Tower suddenly moved. It flew along the path that Lu Li used and approached Bei Xian. Is Lu Li going to attack? All the complete realm warriors were distracted. Bei Xian was nervous as well. He secretly said that if Lu Li came out, the complete realm warriors should target him and use soul attacks at once. They must try their best. As long as Lu Li could be killed, everything else would be fine. The East King Tower had become smaller. Lu Li had gone around and created several paths. At the moment, the East King Tower was going around and around. It had no intention of stopping. Was Lu Li looking for a chance? Wait. Bei Xian soon realized that Lu Li was buying time to give Blood Fairy a chance to build the formation. Bei Xian thought about it. After a moment of hesitation, he made up his mind and said, "Let's abandon our bodies. Wrap up our souls with origin energy and run." The goblins are working on the formation, and Lu Li is buying time. When the formation is finished, our souls will not be able to escape. We still have a chance. Get ready and move together. Lu Li cannot stop all the souls. The other complete realm warriors were panicking. If what Bei Xian said was true and their souls were sealed, then they would die here. There were no complete realm warriors nearby. By the time the other complete realm warriors came to their rescue, they would not be able to survive any longer. "Run!" Bei Xian shouted. His origin energy wrapped around his soul and dashed out of his body. At the same time, the other complete realm warriors and their souls left their bodies as well. Over a dozen of them scattered and fled to different directions. Too late. In the East King Tower, Lu Li left. The entire chirping insect mountain glowed in a yellow light. Then, the yellow light spread out quickly. A yellow shield appeared, covering an area with a radius of 3,000 miles. All the souls that escaped were enveloped. Not a single one escaped. Chapter 3767. When the soul was separated from the body, it would be like a rootless duckweed. The soul would be more fragile and vulnerable to collapse. When Blood Fairy activated the divine rune, Lu Li came out from the East King Tower. He waved his hands. Snow and ice fell from the sky again. The space within a radius of 3,000 miles was frozen again. The cold air spread out. Half of the more than 1,000 Saint Kings and warriors close to the absolute realm were frozen as well. They could not run away even if they wanted to. Fall back. The rest of the warriors retreated quickly. Their eyes were filled with fear. They had been attacking for such a long time. The mysterious warrior froze the void again in an instant. Well, some of the warriors close to the absolute realm had strong psychic power. They took a look and realized that the warrior looked like Lu Li. Whether it was Lu Li or not, they must retreat. The cold air was spreading, and so was the iceberg. If they did not retreat, they would all be frozen. By then, death would be the only outcome. Many powerful warriors who were infinitely close to the completion of the realm were surprised. Was that mysterious warrior Lu Li? If so, how could he be so strong? There is no way out. The souls of Bei Xian and the others smashed against the yellowish shield. They felt they had bumped into a steel wall. They were in despair. Separated from their bodies, their divine energy would be consumed faster. When their divine energy ran out, it would be the end of their lives. It was pointless for them to go back to their bodies now, because their connection with their bodies had been severed. Lu Li, he is out. Bei Xian used psychic power to check. When Lu Li came out, Bei Xian said at once, "Let's work together to kill Lu Li, or none of us can escape." One soul after another came. Lu Li did not go into the East King Tower. Instead, he patted the East King Tower. Little White came out and changed back to its original form. Lu Li grabbed Little White with one hand and lifted it up. Little White could not stand the cold air here. Without Lu Li's help, Little White would suffer from frostbite or even freeze to death. His dermic world spun as Whitey rapidly absorbed the cold energy within its body. Whitey's body shone brightly, and an illusory figure appeared. The illusory figure of the heaven-devouring beast locked onto a soul that was rushing over. A formless airflow appeared and enveloped that soul. That soul spirit couldn't withstand it at all and was sucked in. Then, the phantom image disappeared along with the soul spirit. Heaven devoured divine skill. Bei Xian and the rest were scared out of their wits. Under normal circumstances, Lu Xiaobai's heaven-swallowing divine skill wouldn't have much effect on them. They could resist it. The problem was that they had left their physical bodies and were only left with their soul bodies. What else could they use to resist the heaven-swallowing divine skill? Originally, the phantom image of the swallowing heaven divine skill was very big, but unfortunately, it was completely covered by the iceberg, so the martial artists outside could not see it, and if they were too far away, they would not be able to detect it. The martial artists outside were all bewildered, waiting for the final outcome of the battle. Xiao. Lu Li carried Lu Xiaobai and moved forward quickly. He didn't want any more accidents, so he wanted to finish the fight as soon as possible. He moved forward with Little White. Little White locked onto Jin Yan's soul, and a phantom image appeared over its head. Once again, Little White released the heaven-swallowing divine skill. Jin Yan's soul was locked on and was sucked in. Then, his soul was destroyed and he was annihilated. The other souls fled in fear. Unfortunately, there was a shield around them. Where could they go? They wanted to release soul attacks, but they were souls and had to get closer. Once they got closer, they would be attacked by Lu Xiaobai and their souls would be destroyed. Lu Xiaobai can't use the heaven-swallowing divine skill too many times. Let's go together, Bei Xian said to the other absolute perfection realm warriors. Bei Luan did the same and was the first to rush toward Lu Li. Two of the other absolute perfection realm warriors were tempted and they flew over as well. Lu Xiaobai released the heaven-swallowing divine skill for the third time and locked onto Bei Luan. Bei Luan's soul was sucked in and then vanished. Seeing that the other two absolute perfection realm warriors were coming over, Lu Li dashed into the East King Tower with Little White. Little White had released the heaven-swallowing divine skill 3 times in a row and was very weak now. It needed a break. Seeing that Lu Li had gone into the East King Tower, Bei Xian and the others were overjoyed. They came over and surrounded the East King Tower. They were going to wait for Lu Li to come out so that they could release soul attacks together and kill Lu Li first. Lu Li could use psychic power to check the outside at any time. How could he come out? Lu Li thought about it and decided not to take the risk. The soul attacks of an absolute perfection realm warrior were too powerful. He was safe in the East King Tower. Outside, Bei Xian and the others were consuming their origin divine energy. Lu Li wanted to see how long they could last. If only my flames were still around. Lu Li felt it was a pity. If the flames could burn the soul, it would be a big problem even if the soul didn't collapse. Lu Li thought about it and took out some divine liquid of perishing. He wondered how it could harm the soul. Looking at Little White, who was pale, Lu Li asked, "Little White, is there any way to get the divine liquid of perishing out and attack those souls?" Little White came over with curiosity and tried to grab it. Lu Li stepped back at once and said, "Don't touch it. This is divine liquid of perishing. Warriors close to an absolute perfection realm warrior will be corroded by one touch. Your body cannot stand it, either. Oh, boss, go out. I will take you in an instant. I don't think they will have time to attack." Little White said, "Just go out and sprinkle the divine liquid. I will take care of the rest." Okay. Lu Li thought about it. With a white glare, his appearance changed. In the end, he became Lord Yin. Looking at Little White, Luli said, "Is this good?" "Yes." Little White gave him a thumbs up and said, "Boss, this is the best. I am sure they will be scared to death." Luli waved his hand. Little White controlled the East King Tower to let Luli out. The Absolute Perfection Realm warriors outside had been keeping an eye on him. They were about to launch soul attacks when they realized it was Lord Yin. Lord Yin was an Absolute Perfection Realm warrior. They were all souls. Wouldn't Lord Yin be able to kill them all with one move? The Absolute Perfection Realm warriors were stunned for the time for one breath. Then, Luli poured out some divine liquid of destruction. The East King Tower glowed, and Luli was sucked in again. It was not until now that the Absolute Perfection Realm warriors realized that this Lord Yin was fake. He did not have the chi and energy of Absolute Perfection Realm warrior. Right at that moment, the East King Tower glowed and sucked in all the divine liquid of annihilation. Then, with a turn of the light, the divine liquid of annihilation scattered in all directions. Hundreds of drops of divine liquid of annihilation were scattered by the East King Tower. "What is that?" Out of instinct, Bei Xian stepped back. But the 5 Absolute Perfection Realm warriors at the front were hit. Then the divine liquid of destruction burned a hole in part of their souls. How important was the soul? The soul was divided into 3 parts and 7 parts. If any part of the soul was damaged, the rest of the soul would suffer. Only one of the 5 Absolute Perfection Realm warriors tried to run away. But after a while, the soul collapsed. The other souls didn't even have a chance to run. They were destroyed by the divine liquid of destruction. "Nice. Boss, well done." Lu Li and Little White were overjoyed. If the divine liquid of destruction was useful, the rest of the Absolute Perfection Realm warriors could be destroyed. Chapter 3768. More and more people gathered, but none of the warriors dared to go near. Even the elders did not dare to go near. They had been attacking the ice mountain for so long, and the experts inside could recover easily. They even sealed some of the warriors in ice. They knew that no matter how they attacked, it would be useless. Therefore, they saved their energy. They had already sent a message to the other great perfection level experts in the north. They just needed time to get here. They could only hope that Bei Xian and the others could hold on a little longer. Many soldiers came from the nearby cities, at least 100,000. But what was the use? No matter how many came, they could only watch from the outside. There were also many scouts who came after hearing the news. They looked at the ice mountain in the distance and wanted to check it out. But the cold air was too strong and they could not get close. The ice mountain seemed to have the effect of affecting the divine telekinesis. It was somewhat restricted. Time passed bit by bit. After the time it took for 3 incense sticks to burn, fog suddenly came out from the ice mountain. The ice mountain began to melt quickly and the cold air disappeared. After a while, the cold air disappeared completely and the surrounding fog dissipated gradually as well. Is the battle over? Countless warriors tensed up and their divine telekinesis started to check. The few elders waited for a moment before sneakily moving towards the ice mountain. Many other scouts also moved. Everyone quickly moved towards the ice mountain. When these elders and scouts moved, more warriors moved as well. Those soldiers quickly rushed over. Because the cold air was gone, everyone's divine telekinesis was not restricted. When the elders got close, they could already check the situation on Insect Mountain. Swoosh, they suddenly stopped. It was an emergency break. Their eyes were filled with fear and disbelief. The scouts behind them quickly rushed over, and they quickly stopped as well. Many of them had shocked expressions on their faces, and some of them were so scared that their bodies were trembling. Swish, 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 more soldiers rushed over, and then stopped in unison when they reached this side. They had also investigated the situation on Insect Crying Mountain. Some of the soldiers even wanted to turn around and run, because the scene they had detected was too terrifying. At the peak of Insect Mountain, a figure stood there coldly. Beneath his feet was a row of corpses. Bei Xian and the others' corpses were all here. There were 15 great perfection level experts, and they were all neatly arranged. This was obviously set up. Their space rings were all gone. All of them had been taken away. 15 great perfection deities, 15 supreme being powerhouses, 15 super big shots who usually stood at the top of the clouds, had now become corpses lined up in a row. There was no aura of life on their bodies. Their souls had long dissipated, and they could not be more dead. It was rare to see a great perfection deity, and even if one did appear, the soldiers and scouts outside could only look up to them and see them from afar. Now, they saw 15 of them dead together. There were no wounds on their bodies, and there was no sign of pain on their faces. They had died very peacefully. This was not strange. What was strange was that there was a warrior standing in front of them, a Saint Emperor warrior, a small warrior who could be considered famous in the immortal region, Lu Li. Everyone knew what was going to happen today. Lu Li wanted to exchange the third eye with the Bei family for a hostage. The Saint King in front of them was Lu Li. When Lu Li was wreaking havoc at the Yama beast race, many scouts collected information about him and saw his portrait. This was indeed Lu Li, Lu Xiaobai's sworn brother. However, why was Lu Li standing here? Why were Bei Xian and the others all lying on the ground? None of the warriors could think of an answer to this question. It was very confusing and strange. If Lu Li was the king of the eastern region, perhaps they would only be shocked and amazed. They would not be confused, and they would not find it strange. But the one standing in front of them was Lu Li, a small warrior from the Chaotic Star region, a country bumpkin. Lu Li stood still. He had done it on purpose. He had placed the bodies of Bei Xian and the others on purpose. He had done it for the scouts to see, for them to spread the news, so that the entire immortal region would know and all the powerful warriors in the immortal region would be shocked. He did not want to fight endlessly. He did not want to continue killing. He did not want to stir up trouble for no reason. Many people had died this time, and he did not want to continue dying. He did not want to continue dying. He only wanted to intimidate the entire immortal region, to tell the other great perfection deities and realm kings of the immortal region not to provoke him. It was silent. No warrior dared to make any noise. As for the insects here, they were all frozen to death. Lu Li did nothing, and the more than 100,000 warriors outside didn't dare to do anything either. It was strangely quiet. After the time for one incense stick to burn, Lu Li turned around slowly. Then he shook his body, and the clouds around him dispersed. Lu Li looked at the patriarchs of the Bei family at the foot of the mountain and shouted with dragon roar, "I had no quarrel with the Bei family, but Bei Xian kept stirring up trouble. I had no choice but to kill Bei Xian and the 14 great perfection realm warriors here today. Take the bodies back and bury them. Also, help me tell the entire immortal region not to provoke me. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences." Oh, Lu Li seemed to have remembered something. He disappeared and soon reappeared. His interspatial ring glowed, and a body appeared, placed next to Bei Xian. He shouted again, "This is the body of the king of the southern region. Take it back and let the warriors of the Yu family come and claim it. Help me tell them that the king of the southern region wanted to kill me, so I killed him. If the Yu family is not satisfied, they can come to me again. But next time, I will wipe out the entire Yu family. Also, tell them that the eastern region belongs to Little White. Tell all the invading families there to piss off, or else I will kill them all." When Lu Li finished his words, there was still silence. All the warriors focused their psychic power on the last body Lu Li threw out. They were scared out of their wits. The king of the southern region, Yushu, he killed the king of the southern region as well. Did he kill 2 realm kings? Were realm kings as common as cabbages now? How could he casually kill a few of them? Buzzing, Lu Li took out the East King Pagoda, and Little White walked out. Lu Xiaobai was a celebrity. Many scouts knew him. Some scouts who were not sure about Lu Li's identity were sure now. This was Lu Li from the Chaotic Star region, Lu Xiaobai's sworn brother. Whoosh! Little White took out a saber and cut at Bei Xian's head. Little White had a supreme divine weapon in his hand. Bei Xian was dead, so Little White's head was cut off easily. Little White put away Bei Xian's head and was about to cut at the king of the southern region when Lu Li shook his head. "Let's go, Little White." Lu Li waved his hand. Little White glanced around with killing intent and then flew up with Lu Li. A specter ship appeared. Lu Li and Little White snuck into the ship. Soon, the ship flew to the sky in the south. Lu Li and Little White had left, but the warriors here still didn't dare to move. Many warriors checked the 16 bodies on the chirping insect mountain with psychic power. They still couldn't believe it, as if they were in a dream. "The world has changed," an old man murmured. He looked up to the sky and said, "The world of the immortal region has changed. It is not the same as before. Maybe the death of the two realm kings is just the beginning. More changes are yet to come." P.S. 4 chapters. I said 4 chapters at random times, not every day. After this month, I will try my best to release more chapters. Remember the mobile website. Chapter 3769. Swish! From the south of the chirping insect mountain, 4 figures flew over at high speed. In the blink of an eye, they had crossed millions of miles and landed on the mountain. They landed and found that there were already 5 at the chirping insect mountain. They didn't pay attention to the other 4 and focused on the corpses on the mountain. Finally, their eyes landed on the body of the king of the southern region. Family patriarch. The 4 perfect paragons all knelt down, tears streaming down their faces. They were extremely sorrowful. They were the 4 perfect paragons of the Yu clan. They already knew that the king of the southern region had died. The Yu clan had already made arrangements for their retreat. Now, they were here to bring back the king of the southern region's corpse. When a Yu family at the chirping insect mountain knelt down, there was an uproar. It seemed that the body really belonged to the king of the southern region. In other words, 2 realm kings died in Lu Li's hands. In addition to the dozen at the chirping insect mountain, Lu Li had killed 16 at the chirping insect mountain by himself. There were already millions of warriors gathering around. Of course, these ordinary warriors didn't dare to get close and could only watch from afar. The chirping insect mountain was surrounded by the Bei family's army. Regular scouts were not allowed to go up. The chirping insect mountain didn't stay for long. Soon, they brought the king of the southern region's body to the south. After the king of the southern region's body was taken away, the powerful warriors of the Yu family also collected the bodies of Bei Xian and the others and brought them back to the North King City. The Bei family had already started making arrangements. The Bei family was completely finished. They didn't dare to stay in the immortal region, let alone rule the northern region. They had to relocate immediately. Otherwise, what awaited them was destruction. The news spread like snowflakes. In just a few days, the entire immortal region had heard about it. The immortal region was in an uproar. After receiving the news, all the battles in the Kuan region and the eastern region stopped. There were battles in many places in the immortal region. They all stopped after hearing the news. They seemed to be shocked. Yes, countless powers of the immortal realms, big and small, were shocked. Many minor cultivators were scared silly. Lu Li's notoriety actually surpassed that of the king of the eastern region and even Kuan Mo. Many warriors said that Lu Li was the most powerful in the world. That was because neither the king of the eastern region nor Kuan Mo had such a record of killing 15 at once and 2 realm kings in a row. The eastern side stopped fighting, and then the invading experts from the eastern side gathered together for a discussion. Finally, they all decided to withdraw. They had to. Lu Li and Lu Xiaobai were flying towards the eastern region. If they did not retreat, they would end up like Bei Xianyue and the others, dying miserably. Could it be that their battle prowess was stronger than Bei Xianyue and the others? If they stayed at the eastern region and waited for Lu Li and Lu Xiaobai to come back, their entire race would be wiped out. The eastern region was a good place, but they couldn't afford it. Lu Li and the others were indeed flying toward the eastern region. But at the moment, Lu Li was confused. He didn't know where to go next. Seize the opportunity to occupy the eastern region, become the new king of the eastern region. At the end of the day, he was still a little weak. He wasn't a great perfection deity, and he didn't have any powerful subordinates. There wasn't even a single great perfection deity in the eastern region, and he was a little uneasy about occupying such a large territory. Also, he had killed so many Paragon stage cultivators. Would this cause the celestial domain's powerhouses to unite against him? There were a few supreme experts in the immortal domain. Kuanimo could only be ranked third. There were two more supreme experts above him. One of them was a realm king of the middle realm. The other one wasn't a realm king, but lived in a dangerous place between the western region and the Kuan region. He was known as the Little Devil. These two were recognized as the most powerful in the immortal domain. They hadn't shown themselves for many years. If these two thought Lu Li was a threat to their status and wanted to fight with him, then it would be troublesome. Should he go back to the Chaotic Star territory and see what was going on? Lu Li was hesitant. He asked Little White. Little White didn't care. Lu Li would go wherever he went. The king of the eastern region had passed away. He had no family now. He only had two relatives. One was Lu Li, and the other was Lord Yin. They were both by his side. Let's go back first. Lu Li thought for a few days and finally decided to go back to the Chaotic Star territory and let the immortal domain fall into chaos. He had the third eye anyway, so he could keep an eye on the situation in the immortal domain. He would stay in the Chaotic Star territory for a while. When Little White reached the Great Perfection realm and his strength was more stable, he would come back to the immortal domain. Little White nodded and went into the East King Tower to heal Lord Yun and the others. Lord Yun and the others were still in a coma. Their immortal cores and meridians were destroyed, and their souls were injured. They were still in a coma. Lu Li had to monitor the situation from the outside. He didn't have to trouble himself with healing. The battleship flew in a straight line. Lu Li kept an eye on the surroundings. After half a day, the battleship suddenly trembled and stopped. It was as if it had hit an invisible wall. Lu Li's hair stood on end. He was like a lion that had been woken up. He dashed away, trying to enter the Dharma realm at once. But at that moment, there was a dot of starlight in front of him. With the starlight as the center, an invisible ripple spread out, covering an area with a radius of 3,000 miles. After Lu Li was enveloped by the light, he was frozen. He couldn't move at all. What? Lu Li was shocked. Could it be that the two most powerful demons in the immortal domain had made a move? Could they have come so fast? What was this demon trying to do? Were they here to kill him? Lu Li used psychic power to check, but found nothing. He even used the mark of Tao to check, but still, he found nothing. He was surprised. Who was this powerful warrior? Why didn't he show himself? Buzzing, another ray of starlight shone in the sky. Two people walked out from the starlight and stood in midair. Lu Li used psychic power to check, only to feel as if he had seen a ghost in broad daylight. He saw two people coming toward him. He seemed to know them. Upon closer inspection, Lu Li was sure that he knew them. One of them was Lu Li's teacher. In the void, there was a short old man with white hair and a sage-like old man in a Taoist robe with a fan in his hand. Who else could it be other than Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor? It had been years since they met, but Lu Li recognized them soon. After all, Blood Emperor could be considered as Lu Li's teacher. Astro Emperor left a deep impression on Lu Li as well. Back then, Astro Emperor told Lu Li the exact time when he would become an immortal. They were powerful warriors from the 9 universes of the mortal world. Astro Emperor ranked first in the purgatory of primordial chaos. Ever since Lu Li ascended to the immortal world, he never saw them again. To Lu Li, Astro Emperor was mysterious, but he was just a mortal man. Lu Li never expected to see him here. What was more, Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor could stop Lu Li with one finger. Given Lu Li's current abilities, not even a warrior close to the consummate realm could stop him, let alone average warriors. Consummate realm? Lu Li sensed and found it even more unbelievable. Not only Astro Emperor, even Blood Emperor seemed to be at the consummate realm. Two warriors from the mortal world. How could they be at the consummate realm? Did they have other identities? Whoosh! Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor flew over. The Spectre ship had runes. Astro Emperor waved his fan, and the runes dimmed down. Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor came in. Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor smiled. Astro Emperor waved his fan and said, "Lu Li, we meet again." Chapter 3770. As Astro Emperor spoke, Luli noticed that the space around him was unsealed. He did not know if Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor meant him any harm. But since Astro Emperor could freeze him so easily, it was futile no matter how Luli struggled. Astro Emperor must be powerful. Who is Astro Emperor? How come I have never heard of them in the immortal region? Luli was curious. At the same time, he wondered why Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor showed up. Were they here to avenge Bei Xian, the master of the southern region? Many thoughts flashed across Lu Li's mind. After a moment of hesitation, Lu Li bowed and said, "Greetings, Astro Emperor, Blood Emperor." When Lu Li was apprenticed to Blood Emperor refused, saying that he was too weak to be Lu Li's teacher. Now, Blood Emperor was at the consummate realm as well. Lu Li was speechless. Astro Emperor said with a smile, "Don't mention it. We're on the same side. We have been watching you grow." Lu Li was surprised. It was understandable that Astro Emperor had been watching him grow up in the mortal world, but he never saw Astro Emperor again. How could Astro Emperor say that he had been watching him grow up? Lu Li said nothing. Blood Emperor said with a smile, "Lu Li, believe me, we have been paying attention to your growth over the years. We just didn't show up." What? Lu Li was stunned. Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor had been secretly watching him grow up, but he did not sense anything. Two consummate realm warriors had been watching him. Two consummate realm warriors disguised as mortals and went to the purgatory of primordial chaos. Was it just for fun, or was there something else? All right. Astro Emperor waved his hand and said, "Let's talk about the old days later. Lu Li, do you know that you have made a grave mistake and that you will not live long?" What? Lu Li frowned and asked, "Astro Emperor, why do you say so?" "Because you have disrupted the order and broken the rules." Astro Emperor explained, "The order of the entire celestial realm is set by a sovereign. You slaughtered so many perfection realm cultivators and even killed 2 realm kings. This caused the celestial realm to be in turmoil, causing the order of the entire celestial realm to be in chaos and threatening the position of the sovereign. Think about it. How could this sovereign let you go?" "Supreme warrior?" Lu Li frowned and asked after some thoughts. "The one at the middle region or the devil?" "Middle state," Star Emperor explained. "In fact, the uncrowned king of the entire immortal realm has always been that one in the middle realm. That one has also lived for millions of years. Although he doesn't really care much, many of the rules are set by him, and no expert can violate them." "Something's not right," Lu Li asked in confusion. "Didn't the master of the eastern region kill many warriors at the absolute realm and the master of the origin region as well? Didn't Kuan Mo kill many warriors at the absolute realm as well? They can kill as they please, but I can't? It is because they are from a mortal domain, all of them bowing their heads to that one in the middle realm." Star Emperor explained, "They are all within the rules, so they can play however they want. You, on the other hand, are outside the rules, and you killed too fiercely. You killed 2 realm kings at once. In addition, 2 realm kings had already died this time. Now, all 4 realms had lost their realm kings. How could the immortal realm not be chaotic? You were just an outsider, yet you suddenly displayed such powerful combat prowess, your prestige rising greatly, vaguely showing signs of becoming the #1 expert in the immortal realms. Who in the middle realm can tolerate this?" "Well," Lu Li pursed his lips, rolled his eyes, and asked, "Which one is strong? I don't stand a chance." "Yes," Star Emperor said with a smile, "but you can't do it now. When you grow up, you can kill all the warriors at the absolute realm with 1 finger, let alone the one at the middle realm." "Kill with 1 finger?" Lu Li's pupils contracted. Then he came to his senses and shouted, "Star Emperor, are you saying I have a chance to become a major immortal?" "Yes," Star Emperor said with certainty. "It's not just a chance. According to our Lord, you have an 80% chance of becoming a major immortal." 80%? Lu Li was so excited that he was trembling. If he could become a major immortal, would he have any regrets in this life? Who else could threaten him? He would be free to roam the entire world, and the major immortals were omnipotent. Wait, Luli soon came to his senses. His eyes widened. He suddenly looked at Star Emperor and asked, Lord? Star Emperor, is your Lord also an major immortal? Yes, Astro Emperor answered with certainty. We are under orders to patrol around and look for good seedlings. We are looking for talents that have a chance to become a major immortal. You are the one we are focusing on. Another one of your wives is also a major immortal. But judging from the current situation, her chances are slim. Well, my wives? Luli was surprised. Soon, he figured out. He asked, you mean, Linglong? Yes, both of them are cursed ones of the 7 universes. Astro Emperor smiled and waved his hand. Okay, let's stop here. Come with me to meet our Lord. I suppose you have been wanting to see her, right? Her. Luli's interest was piqued again. He looked at Blood Emperor, who was smiling as well. Luli was excited and asked, Is it the Demon King? Ha ha ha. Astro Emperor laughed. You will know when you see her. She's an old friend of yours. Let's go. Take the Spectre to the Chaotic Star region. You will have plenty of time on the way. You can ask your questions. Now, we can answer you basically because you are qualified. Okay. Without any hesitation, Luli patted the East King Tower and Little White came out. Noticing that there were 2 unfamiliar experts, the Astral Sovereign immediately raised his guard. The Astral Sovereign said with a smile, All right, little heaven-devouring beast, stop glaring. Not to mention you. Even your father wouldn't dare to be rude to me if he were still alive. Control the battleship and fly toward the eastern entrance. Underlings of a major immortal. Luli nodded. Astro Emperor was the underling of a major immortal. Master of the eastern region would not be rude. Luli had too many questions, but he had to suppress them. He told Little White to fly the battleship again. When the battleship was in the air, Luli told Little White to go back to the East King Tower to treat Lord Yun and the others. After a while, Luli asked a question. Astro Emperor, do you know where my family is? Yes. Astro Emperor nodded. We're going to the Chaotic Star region now. We will take your family away, and then we will meet our Lord later. This is what our Lord told us. We will settle your family down so that you will have no worries. Worries in the future? Luli seemed to have guessed something. He asked in a low voice, Are there more than one major immortal alive in this world? Some. Astro Emperor put on a solemn expression. You must have guessed something. The collapse of worlds above the 4th plane is actually the result of battles between major immortals. There are still some major immortals in this world. The one at the middle region is actually a representative of one of them. There's another reason why I said you would be in trouble. You have been tagged. You are one of our lords. Okay, Astro Emperor said. Astro Emperor, don't beat around the bush. Luli, you are right. Our Lord is the one you are thinking of, a demon at the 2nd plane. We call her Empress Flame. Also, she and Empress Ice are twin sisters. They were born at the same time. Chapter 3771. The Asmodean and Queen of Ice were twins. Luli was shocked and relieved at the same time. The statue of Queen of Ice was very similar to the Asmodean. When Luli first saw the statue, he thought it was the Asmodean. Later, he learned that it was not the case. Queen of Flame and Queen of Ice. One was ice, and the other was fire. They were 2 completely different types of energy, and they even countered each other. To think that they would be twin master gods that were birthed by the heaven and earth at the same time. Luli was thrilled to know that the Asmodean behind Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor was the Asmodean. Luli could answer many questions, such as why the Asmodean wanted him to go to the Immortal of Sin. This was all planned by the Asmodean. There was also the Asmodean's abilities. Luli had always suspected that the Asmodean was strong, but when he became stronger, he felt the Asmodean was even stronger. Now, he knew that the Asmodean was an almighty god. Astro Emperor was right. He had been labeled as the Asmodean for a long time. Back in the days, his entire race lived at the Omen Island. He had been labeled as the Asmodean's follower. The Asmodean was his benefactor, and Astro Emperor had always been grateful. Regardless of the circumstances, Astro Emperor belonged to the Asmodeans faction. The battleship flew fast. Luli had many questions, but he did not know where to start. After the time for one incense stick to burn, Luli asked, "Is the Asmodean an enemy of the almighty god that ruled the immortal region?" "A mortal enemy." Astro Emperor nodded. "Ice Empress died indirectly in the hands of this man. You must have heard of this rumor. The world above the fourth heaven collapsed because of a woman." "Yes." Luli nodded. "Is it because of the Asmodean?" "No." "Is it because of Ice Empress?" "Yes, it is because of Ice Empress." Astro Emperor said solemnly, "The collapse of the world above the fourth heaven was caused by many almighty gods. Ice Empress and Queen of Flame were born not long ago. They were kind-hearted and thought that all the almighty gods were good. So they made friends with them. Their beauty and kindness had won the favor of many sovereigns, and some sovereigns had fallen in love with them. The Ice Empress' beauty was coveted by a powerful sovereign as well. That sovereign failed in his pursuit, and so he forcibly abducted the Ice Empress, causing a great battle between sovereigns. Originally, the main gods were divided into 3 factions. At first, the 2 major factions started fighting, and in the end, the neutral faction also got involved. You should know that a battle between paragons is something that not even ordinary realms can withstand. A battle between sovereigns. Luli nodded. He could imagine the horror of that kind of battle. No wonder all the realms above the 4th plane collapsed. With so many overgods fighting together, any universe could collapse. He paused and asked curiously, how many main gods died in the end? How many chief gods were left? How did the Ice Queen die? The Ice Queen committed suicide. Star Sovereign sighed and said, the Ice Empress witnessed the collapse of so many realms and the deaths of so many innocent beings. She felt guilty and committed suicide. Right now, only 7 sovereigns remain. The other sovereigns have all perished. Even sovereigns can perish. Luli said nothing. He couldn't imagine how powerful the main gods were. But didn't they say that they were immortal? How could they die? Astro Emperor saw the confusion in Luli's eyes. Astro Emperor explained, under normal circumstances, overgods are indeed immortal. But overgods can die as well. When their birth seeds are broken, they are no longer overgods. Naturally, they can be killed. We don't know the details. You should ask our Lord. Sure. Luli looked at Blood Emperor with curiosity. He remembered something and asked, Astro Emperor, I remember that Blood Emperor was not strong back then. Was he in disguise? Luli could not see through Astro Emperor, but Blood Emperor could. Back then, Blood Emperor was not famous in the purgatory of primordial chaos, and he was not strong. Astro Emperor looked at Blood Emperor and said with a smile, Blood Emperor was not in disguise. Back then, he was not strong. Later on, he cultivated slowly and finally reached the paragons. He was valued by our Lord, and he was given some guidance. Blood Emperor cupped his fists and said, yes, it was our Lord's guidance and grace. Oh, another thing came to Luli's mind. He asked, I am that cursed angel of the 7 realms. Does it have anything to do with my inability to have children? Yes. Astro Emperor seemed to have guessed that Luli would ask this question. He looked at the Blood Emperor and said with a smile, the body of evil spirit of the 7 realms has a flaw. If it cannot survive 7 trials, it will not be able to conceive. As a matter of fact, it was our Lord who created the cursed angel of the 7 realms. This is an experiment created by our Lord using the blood of an overgod. There are tens of thousands of cursed angel of the 7 realms in the universe. Currently, the strongest is you. More than half of them are dead. What? Luli was dumbfounded. They were experimental subjects? Their bloodlines were improved? But they were not that strong when they were kids. Luli touched his nose and asked, have I gone through all 7 trials? Can I have children now? No. Astro Emperor raised his finger and said, you have only gone through 6 trials. When you go through the last one, your body will change. You will be able to have children again. These are all what his lordship said. As for what will happen in the end, no one can say for sure, because all of you are just his lordship's test subjects. At present, there is no precedent. If you can break through to main god, then there will be a precedent. Yes, Luli was excited. The Asmodean said he had an 80% chance of reaching the level of an overgod. Would the Asmodean lie? If so, then it was highly possible that he could make the breakthrough. Right? Is the overgod that rules the region the one who killed the Ice Empress? Luli asked again. Astro Emperor did not give him a clear explanation. Luli wanted to know who was friend and foe. Instinctively, Luli had regarded himself as a subordinate of the Asmodean. Yes, a glint of coldness rose in Astro Emperor's eyes. To be more precise, he is the one who destroyed worlds above the fourth plane and caused the war between the overgods. He is the most powerful one, and his nickname is Emperor of Punisher. There are 7 overgods in the world. Emperor of Punisher has 4, the Asmodean has 2, and the other one is neutral. 2 versus 4. Luli pulled a long face. Emperor of Punisher must be one of those powerful overgods. Otherwise, he would not have survived the war. Emperor of Punisher had 3 overgods, but the Asmodean only had 1. Even if the Asmodean could reach the level of an overgod, there would only be 3. 3 against 4. Luli did not stand a chance. The Asmodean had been hiding all these years. He even went to the second plane to hide. Was he trying to escape from Emperor of Punisher? Thinking of this, Luli's excited heart sank. The Asmodean of the 7 realms had only gone through 6 trials. The last one would not be easy. Remember the website. Chapter 3772. North, South, East, West, Middle, Universe, Yuan Kuan, the 9 realms. The Middle Realm was the most low-profile in the celestial region and also the most stable realm. In a million years, there had been no change of Realm King and no major chaos. Many warriors in the celestial region had forgotten about the Realm King of the Middle Realm. But some of the regular families knew that the Realm King of the Middle Realm was ridiculously strong, ranked at least in the top 5 of the celestial region. The real families knew that the Realm King of the Middle Realm was undeniably number one in the celestial region. The reason the Middle Realm was not chaotic was because no super family dared to attack it. After 100 years, many warriors wondered if the Realm King of the Middle Realm was dead, because there had been no news of the Realm King for at least 500,000 years. Even many warriors and their families did not know if he was still alive. The Realm King of the Middle Realm was naturally still alive. There was a lake in the Middle Realm called Clear Lake. This lake was very big. The area within 1,000,000 miles was a forbidden zone. It was not that people could not enter, but there was white mist outside the lake. Warriors who entered the mist would faint and wake up to find themselves outside. There were some buildings by the lake. They were all small palaces made of wood. Although there was no stone, it was still very exquisite. There were many children playing by the lake. They were all a few years old. There were even toddlers. There were at least a few thousand children. There was an old man fishing by the lake or napping. He didn't care about the fishing rod at all. He was sunbathing. His face was covered with age spots and bark-like skin. He really looked very old. Rustle, 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 a group of children ran over. A pretty boy pulled the old man's clothes and said, "Forefather, little aunt is here." The old man opened his eyes slightly and said with a smile, "I understand. You can go and play." The little boy ran away with a smile. A pretty lady flew over and stood by the old man. She knelt on one knee. "God greets, forefather." The old man nodded. He didn't open his eyes and didn't speak. The pretty lady continued. Something big happened outside. Lu Xiaobai's sworn brother Lu Li, an overlord of the chaotic star regions, late-stage Saint King, set up a trap at Chongming Mountain in the north and killed Bei Xian and 15 absolute saints. In addition, he took out Yushu's corpse. The Yu clan had already confirmed that it was indeed Yushu. Also, Lu Li used the law of ice and snow to freeze Bei Xian and the others to death. Law of ice. The old man didn't care about the first part of the sentence, but when he heard the last part, his eyes suddenly opened wide. His eyes were as sharp as a knife's edge. He sat up and asked, "That brat obtained the inheritance of the Ice Empress. Obtained the origin of ice and snow? It should be." Cod took out a document and said, "Some time ago, it was rumored that Luli had acquired the third eye. Back then, Bei-Xian and Kuan Mo pursued Luli to the Ice Harem. Luli was chased all the way into the Ice Harem by several at the Consummate Realm, so he shouldn't have been that strong before. His sudden increase in power must be due to some miraculous encounters in the Ice Harem. No fortuitous encounter," the old man said with certainty. "There's only one explanation for him being able to freeze so many great perfection stage cultivators to death. He obtained the origin of ice and snow, which is the coldest thing nurtured by heaven and earth. Only the origin of ice and snow can allow a Saint Emperor to kill a Saint Emperor. What about Lu Li's details?" "Only a part of it at the moment." Cod handed over the document in his hand and explained, "Luli wasn't that famous before and didn't plan to develop in the immortal domain. Therefore, the information collected is limited. I've already made arrangements, and more information will be collected in the future." The old man took over the document and read it carefully. Just like that, he went through it for more than 2 hours. He passed the document back to Cod and said, "Inheritor of the Ice Empress. Make a trip personally and ask him to come see me." "Yes." Cod nodded and then asked, "Forefather, what if he doesn't want to come? Tell him my identity." The old man said indifferently, "If he doesn't want to, then he'll be my enemy. This world can't tolerate him anymore." "Yes." Cod nodded and left. The old man said indifferently, "Do you think you are invincible after obtaining the origin of ice and snow? If you don't kneel, then you will die." Cod thought of something else and said, "Oh right, Forefather, do you think the surviving members of the Flame Empress will go and find Luli? After all, he is the inheritor of the Ice Empress." "It doesn't matter." The old man waved his hand and said, "Luli is just a Saint Emperor. How many years has he been cultivating? So what if he has the origin of ice and snow? Does he want to become an almighty immortal? It's not that easy. If he goes to the Flame Empress side, then he will be courting death. Our Lord has been in closed-door cultivation for 300,000 years. I think he will come out soon. Okay, I will go to the Chaotic Star region." Cod bowed and left. The old man went back to his wrought-tan chair. Looking at the running children in the distance, he smiled and murmured, "Isn't it good to be alive? Is Emperor Xing injured?" Lu Li and the others had left the immortal region. Hearing Astro Emperor's story, Lu Li understood. No wonder the Demon King could stay alive. He was wondering why Emperor Xing didn't go after him when he was so powerful. Why was the Demon King stirring up trouble here? Yes. Astro Emperor explained. During the world-ending war, Emperor Xing's body was shattered, and so was his birth seed. He used his secret method to escape to the 9 levels of purgatory and used the chi and energy of the 9 levels of purgatory to hide. Otherwise, he would have been killed. During the world-ending war, there were more Lord Immortals on our side. There were 8 Lord Immortals on Empress Yan's side and the neutral side. Unfortunately, we never found Emperor Xing. 300,000 years ago, when Emperor Xing came out from closed-door cultivation, another war broke out. Empress Yan and the neutral side lost 5 Lord Immortals. Emperor Xing was injured again, and his birth seed was broken. He went back to the 9 levels of purgatory. Otherwise, our Lord and the others would have been killed by Emperor Xing. Why can't the Demon King and the others go to the 9 levels of purgatory? Lu Li was confused. The Lord Immortals were so powerful. There were 2 on the Demon King's side and 1 on the neutral side. If they went to the 9 levels of purgatory together, there was still a chance that they could kill the injured Emperor Xing. Have you forgotten that there are 3 Lord Immortals on Emperor Xing's side? Astro Emperor rolled his eyes and said, "The 3 Lord Immortals have been protecting Emperor Xing. The 9 levels of purgatory was created by Emperor Xing. That is his lair. Emperor Xing is injured, but with the help of the 9 levels of purgatory, our Lord and the others will die if they go in. Also, the Lord of the neutral side has made it public that he won't get involved in anything. He's scared." Yes, Luli was more and more aware of the seriousness of the situation. He and the Demon King were on the same boat. When Emperor Xing came out from closed-door cultivation, a catastrophe would come. No wonder the Demon King told him to settle down his family and make arrangements for his retreat. In this way, he could fight with all his strength without any worries. Lord Immortals, Luli felt the pressure on his shoulders suddenly became so heavy that he couldn't breathe. Not long ago, those at the Absolute Realm were powerhouses that he couldn't defeat. How long had it been? His enemy had become Lord Immortals, the most powerful one in the world. Chapter 3773. The Asmodean Lord said that Luli had the chance to become an almighty immortal. Therefore, Astro Emperor told Luli everything he knew. He would answer anything Luli asked. On his way from the immortal region to the eastern region, Luli learned many things and answered many questions. He learned many secrets of the world. The birth of her, an Ice Empress, led to the war between the almighty immortals. It was not only because Emperor of Penalty lusted after Ice Empress's beauty. The deeper reason was that the two forces were incompatible. Sovereigns had emotions and desires as well. Sovereigns also had ambitions and desires. Another reason was that all the almighty immortals were fighting for the energy of faith. In ancient times, all living beings worshipped almighty immortals. But the almighty immortals worshipped different gods. Some believed in one thing, others in another. The energy of faith from countless living beings would increase the power of the almighty immortals. When some almighty immortals grew stronger, others grew slower because of the lack of energy of faith. Naturally, this would upset the balance and lead to conflicts. Later on, 3 more powerful warriors became almighty immortals. They were once living beings. Their desire for dominance was stronger. Emperor of Penalty was one of them. At first, things were peaceful. Later on, Emperor of Penalty and the others messed around and fought for the energy of faith, which made the conflict worse. The birth of Ice Empress and Flame Empress became the fuse. The war between the almighty immortals began. The image Luli saw on the calligraphy of Ice Harem was that a horrifying hand smashed down and destroyed that world. That was not an illusion. It was real. That hand belonged to Emperor of Penalty. Almighty immortals were the real immortals. They could crush a world with one slap. They were so powerful that all the other warriors, including those at the Absolute Realm, were like ants to them. They could crush tens of thousands of them at will. At first, the war between the almighty immortals was under control. However, Emperor of Penalty dragged the neutral parties into the mess. Later on, things went out of control. The 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th heaven all collapsed. Many realms were destroyed. Countless living beings died. Only some of them managed to escape to the 3rd heaven. The Middle King region was a small one. Later on, many powerful warriors came, which was why there were so many. It was the same for the 8 galaxies and the other galaxies. Many powerful warriors came. Those universes didn't have the Absolute Realm. The most powerful ones were only at the Emperor Realm. After a shocking war, all the universes above the 4th heaven collapsed. After that, there were only 7 almighty immortals left. If it were not for Emperor of Penalty's injury, the Asmodean would have died. Punisher hid in 9 hells purgatory. The great Demon King did not dare to enter, and Punisher's divine fate had been shattered. He needed time to recover, and the situation had become like this. The Asmodean knew very well that the next time Emperor of Penalty came, it would be the end for her. That was why she had been trying to come up with a solution for the past hundreds of thousands of years. Firstly, she had to find a way to increase her power. Secondly, she had to see if she could nurture a few new main gods to help her fight against Xing Tian. Emperor was Tatu, an Asmodean emperor. She of Emperor of Asen with using. With. Using, she Madian god. Had to use of to was, as. And her to choose to the used of Lees, but was. Ling to two. Of Lees to, she chose to chose. was, had Astoas, of Tatu, that to of, was, of Li had, Tatu. There was no Asmodean god in this world. The Asmodean god was the Asmodean god. It was a pity that out of the tens of thousands of seven tribulation heaven emanations, the strongest was only Luli. As for the rest, they had only nurtured dozens of them that were infinitely close to perfected heaven emanations. Luli began to understand why the great demon king had to train mortals. It would be more difficult for mortals to reach the top step by step. The disasters they faced would be more difficult. If a mortal could reach the 8 galaxies in the immortal region, it meant that he had unlimited potential. Compared to those young masters who were born in big families and protected by their elders, it would be easier for them to reach the top. Luli was the only successful one among tens of thousands of Asmodean gods. Luli's heart was heavy. He had to fight against Emperor of Penalty with the Asmodean god and the Asmodean god. The Arch-Punisher had been in seclusion for 300,000 years. According to his calculations, it was very likely that his chief god Fate was about to recover, or had already recovered. They were no match for Emperor of Penalty, even if Luli became an overgod. Even if the 3 overgods on Emperor of Penalty's side did not help, Luli, the Asmodean god, and the Asmodean god would not be a match for Emperor of Penalty. That Emperor of Penalty had stirred up a storm and survived 2 battles between overgods. Luli's heart was heavy, but did he have any other choice? He was trained by the Asmodean god, and he had the legacy of the Ice Queen. Would Emperor of Penalty let him go? He had to force himself to move forward. If he could not win, he would perish. Luli sighed. He didn't have time to worry. They were about to arrive at the chaotic star region. Luli didn't want to think too much for now. He must make arrangements for his family first. The Spectre ship entered the chaotic star region. Luli put the East King Tower in his hand, and Little White came out. Have they recovered from their wounds? Luli asked. Little White nodded. They have recovered. But it will take some time for them to recover. Their pellets are broken. All right, let them all out. Luli turned to Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor. Astro Emperor waved his hand and said, You deal with them. We will be in the cabin up there. Come up and talk to us. The battleship was divided into several levels. Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor probably didn't want too many people to know about them, so they boarded the battleship above. Little White let Lord Yun and Emperor Yu out. As soon as they were out, Imo Qianqian's eyes reddened. She looked at Luli, trying to hold back her tears. Qianqian, my condolences. Luli walked over and patted Imo Qianqian's shoulder. Suddenly, Lord Yun bowed to Luli. Luli held Lord Yun's hands and said, Lord Yun, why are you doing this? Thank you, Luli. You have avenged the Lord of Domain and so many brothers. Lord Yun didn't mention that Luli had saved him. Instead, he was more grateful that Luli had avenged the Lord of the Eastern region. Lord Yun looked at Luli with mixed feelings. Even now, he could not believe that Luli could kill so many warriors of the Consummate Realm. Not even the Lord of the Eastern region could kill Bei Xian and the Lord of the Southern region. Right. Lord Yun suddenly remembered something and said, Luli, I think there will be messengers coming from the Central region soon. Let me tell you, the Lord of the Central region. All right. Luli interrupted Lord Yun and said with a smile, Lord Yun, I have learned about the situation at the Central region. I will take care of it. That's good. Lord Yun had misunderstood. He reminded Luli, be polite to the messengers. Not even the Lord of Domain can afford to offend him. I will be polite. Luli smiled, but his lips felt cold. The Lord of the Central region was the representative of Emperor of Penalty in the Immortal region, which made him Luli's sworn enemy. Why would Luli be polite to messengers of the Central region? Chapter 3774. By the time Luli returned to the Chaotic Star region, he had received news from the Immortal region. It was the scouts from the major races in the Chaotic Star region. They had received the information and were keeping a close eye on Luli. If there was a chance, they would like to build a good relationship with Luli. With so many scouts and spies, how could the news be kept a secret? Hard as it was to believe, rumors made the truth. The higher-ups of the Chaotic Star region accepted the news. Inside, they were shocked. They felt lucky that they didn't help Jean Yin deal with the Grim Reaper. Otherwise, when Luli came back to settle the score, they would all be doomed. When Luli came back, he teleported back to the Dragon City with a group of powerful warriors. Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor changed their looks and hid their energy. Luli said they were friends. Only Little White and Lord Yun sensed that the two were powerful. But since Luli didn't explain, they didn't ask. Back at the Dragon City, Emperor of Wings and Dragon Emperor came. They were overjoyed to learn that Luli had saved Emperor of Feather and the others. They also received the news that Luli had killed Beixian and more than a dozen warriors of the Consummate Realm and the Master of the Southern Region. Both Emperor of Wings and Dragon Emperor were scared out of their wits. After Luli confirmed it, the two of them were overjoyed. Luli could kill 2 Realm Masters, which meant that he had the ability to become one. If Luli could go to the Immortal Region and take them with him, then the Grim Reaper would become one of the most powerful forces in the world. Luli's alliance Lu was too weak. He would need subordinates. He could trust the Grim Reaper, and it was likely that he would take them with him. Luli didn't say much. He left with Little White, Astro Emperor, and Blood Emperor after one night. He didn't even take Lord Yin with him. He said he had something to deal with and would be back in a month. Luli flew to the west on the Spectre ship. Astro Emperor knew where the mysterious realm was. As for how Astro Emperor knew, Luli didn't ask. The Dragon City was bustling. Leaders of all the forces in the Chaotic Star region were teleported over, wanting to meet Luli. Unfortunately, Luli was not here. Their trip was in vain. They gathered around Emperor of Wings. They learned that Luli was only away for a short while and will be back soon. They all settled down at the Dragon City. Actually, Skyleap City wasn't destroyed. However, millions of heads have been placed there during that period of time. The city walls have been soaked in blood, and the city had become a dead city. The Winged Monarch and the others felt that it was an inauspicious sign. Moreover, the Grim Reaper was temporarily in hiding, so he chose Sky Dragon City as his temporary stronghold. The Spectre ship was fast. It only took Luli half a month to arrive at the secret realm. That mystic realm was indeed well hidden. It was in a deserted world which was covered with poisonous gas. If it weren't for the Astral Emperor leading them at the most critical moment, Luli would not have been able to find the entrance. The entrance was sealed by the divine patterns, which couldn't be sensed from the outside. Star Emperor had to undo the divine patterns himself. He didn't do anything. He just waved his fan and led Luli in. As soon as he entered, the sound of attacks piercing through the air came from inside. The Star Emperor waved his palm leaf fan, and the attacks were scattered. Stop! Luli threw a glance over. It was Yin Qingxi and Xiang Linglong. He stopped them from continuing. Xiang Linglong and Yin Qingxi were surprised to see Luli. Then they burst into tears of joy. Whoosh, 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 from the distance, a group of warriors flew over and surrounded Luli. Bai Xiaoshuang and the other girls were crying their hearts out. They had been worried sick about Luli. After Luli comforted them for a while, Astral Emperor said, "Let's leave now. Time is of the essence. Don't let the spies follow us." Sure, Luli told all the warriors of the Lu family to pack up. He put the average disciples into his interspatial ring, and the rest went back to the Spectre ship. The Spectre ship set sail again. Luli chatted with his family for a while and comforted them. He went to the upper cabin and asked Astral Emperor, "Where are we going now? Where are we going to settle the Lu family?" "There are 2 places to settle them. You can choose." Astral Emperor said, "The first place is where our Lord lives. That is a place he built himself. It is absolutely safe here unless our Lord dies. If we all die and Emperor of Punisher finds this place, then there is nothing we can do. But there are no living beings in this place. Our Lord has no offspring. Neither I nor the Blood Emperor have descendants. There are only hundreds of us here. When your people go in, they will not be able to come out easily unless we win the war. Otherwise, they will be trapped in there for generations to come. The other place is a secret realm of the void." Astral Emperor continued, "Our Lord has set up a secret method. Not even Emperor of Punisher can crack it. There are more than a dozen exits in the secret realm. Those who don't know the method cannot go in. Your people can settle in there, and some can sneak in and out. Lord, you have put so much thought into this. Luli was grateful. The Asmodean had gone through so much trouble for his people. Luli thought about it and decided to take them to the Asmodean's secret realm. They cannot come out, but it would be safe. If he and the Asmodean were to die, then the Lu family would have to live in there for generations to come. Luli thought about it and asked, "How many people can I bring into the Asmodean's secret realm?" "No more than 10,000. Astral Emperor said, seeing that Luli had made up his mind. Also, the 10,000 people can only live in one area. Our Lord and the others must not be told. You know, our Lord likes quiet and doesn't like to be disturbed." "Okay, that's enough." Luli nodded with satisfaction and said, "Astral Emperor, Blood Emperor, please wait for a while. I will go with you as soon as I make some arrangements." "That's okay." Astral Emperor waved his hand, threw out a jade talisman, and said, "Off you go. Crush the jade talisman when you're settled down. We'll hide nearby. Also, if that warrior of the middle realm comes, crush the jade talisman at once. You are not a match for him yet." "I understand." Luli nodded. Astral Emperor and Blood Emperor vanished into the distance in a blur. Luli walked down from the cabin. He gathered the higher-ups of the Lu family and had a meeting. He told them about what had happened recently and how he killed Bei Xian in the Immortal region. After everyone had digested it for a while, he said, "Although I have won this battle for the time being, I still have a very powerful enemy. When I kill this enemy, no one in this world will be able to threaten us anymore. So, for the time being, I need to send you to a safe place. You can stay there, and I will take care of the rest." The group of people looked at each other, not knowing what to say. Luli was in contact with people of a higher level. They were frightened just to hear about it, let alone help. They had to follow Li's arrangement and pray for him. "Don't worry." Luli looked at Lu Ling, In Qingxi by Qiu Xue, and Lu Runhuang with a smile, and said, "I used to fight alone. Now I have many friends. Little White, Lord Yun, and some mysterious warriors at the Consummate Realm. I will not lie to you this time. This is really the last fight, and I am sure that I can win." Luli made a solemn vow. His face glowed with confidence, but inside, he was bitter. He didn't even have a 10% chance of winning, let alone winning. Remember the mobile website. Chapter 3775. Back at the Celestial Dragon City, Luli met with the masters and leaders. He didn't say much, just a few casual words. Luli told them to keep calm and focus on their own things and not to interfere. He could only take 10,000 with him. Most of the disciples of the Lu Alliance and the Grim Reaper would be in hiding. Therefore, Luli had to keep the masters in check. When the war broke out, he didn't want to help them capture those low-level warriors. Whatever Luli said now, the higher-level sovereigns would naturally listen to him. Luli was only asking them to remain neutral. Even if he asked them to send troops to invade the Immortal region, they would probably seriously consider it. After the masters left, Luli summoned the crippled Zen master, who came back in a hurry. Luli asked him to arrange for a group of elites to go with him to the Dharma realm. Also, Luli asked the crippled Zen master to let the other disciples of the Lu Alliance hide deeper and try not to hide in the chaotic universe. They should go to the 8 galaxies and small universes like the Endless Ruins. If they could win this war, they could call back the disciples of the Lu Alliance. If not, they could go their separate ways. The disciples of the Lu Alliance were the elites of the Middle King universes. If they were in the Middle King universes, they could only survive 4, 5, or 6 tribulations, and the best they could do was reach the Emperor realm. Luli had given them a good platform and many resources. The disciples of the Lu Alliance were growing fast. Luli had given them a good starting point. Even if Lu Li were to die, the disciples of the Lu Alliance would grow up and spread out. There would be more powerful warriors. These warriors had deep feelings for the Middle King universes. In the future, when they grew up, they could take care of the Middle King universes. Lu Li asked the crippled Zen master to send a message back to the Middle King universes. He also asked Saint Emperor of Freedom to make arrangements to relocate most of the elites from the Middle King universes. This was to prevent the Punishment Emperor from doing something shameless when he was driven to desperation. Lu Li, is something wrong? The crippled Zen master asked anxiously. Lu Li had killed Bei Xian and master the southern region. He should be at the top of the world now. No other powerful warriors could threaten him. How come Lu Li was still making arrangements? There is another powerful enemy. Lu Li explained, I have one last fight. I arranged for you because I don't want to be distracted. As long as we can win this war, there will be no more powerful warriors in the world that can threaten us. The better you hide, the less I'll be tied down, understand? Understand. I will arrange these things. The crippled Zen master nodded and said, Don't worry about Lu Meng's matter. I will do my best to deal with it. For now, let's follow the Grim Reaper's original plan. Spread out and hide. Even if some of them are caught, it is impossible to catch all of them. Don't worry. Lu Li left with satisfaction. He went to the Winged King and Dragon Emperor and asked them to disperse the warriors of the Grim Reaper as well. They said the same thing as the crippled Zen master. Winged King and Dragon Emperor gave their full support at once, telling Lu Li not to worry and that they would take care of everything. The Feather Emperor and the others were recovering their battle prowess. They no longer had to rely on the Winged Emperor and the Dragon Emperor for everything. Lu Li asked Lu Ling to select the warriors to enter the Demon King world. Lu Li also had to consider whether the disciples of the Lu Alliance were willing or not. Maybe many of the elite disciples of the Lu Alliance wanted to hide outside. Lu Li asked Lu Ling to ask some warriors of the Lu family as well. If they were willing to lurk outside, then they would be responsible for their own lives. Lu Li went to Mo, Qianqian, and Luan Shi and asked if they were willing to go. He also told them some selective information. In the end, they chose to hide with Emperor of Yu and the others. They didn't want to hide in the secret realm. The Grim Reaper was experienced in hiding. This was his specialty. Lady Li left. She was going back to the Infinite Star region. Her abilities were strong now, and she was very close to the complete realm. It had been years since she went back to the Infinite Star region. Now that she was back from the Immortal region and the Grim Reaper was in such a state, it was only natural that she wanted to go back. At the thought of the Infinite Star region, Lu Li remembered something. He hadn't avenged Xiao Mo yet. Xiao Mo had taught him 3 skills: the art of transfiguration, art of stealth, and art of walking. Xiao Mo could be considered as Lu Li's master. Lu Li thought about it and went to Emperor of Wings, asking them to help him fulfill his wish when they had the time. Lu Li remembered that the Dark Knight race was not particularly strong. The Grim Reaper and the other warriors should be enough. After a month, Lu Ling had almost finished choosing the warriors. The last batch would arrive in half a month. Lu Li was ready to leave as well. He had to see the Asmodean Lord first and see how he could make the breakthrough. Rustle, rustle, rustle. 10 days later, Emperor of Wings suddenly came in and said, Lu Li, there's a pretty lady in the city. I heard that she is from the Immortal region and she wants to see you. Her name is Cod. From the Immortal region? Lu Li frowned. He didn't know the Immortal region. There was no Cod. How could he meet anyone from the Immortal region? Lu Li asked, how powerful is she? Very close to the complete realm. Emperor of Wings said. Then he said after some thoughts, there's an old man with her who is unfathomable. I think he might be at the complete realm. Oh, a glint of coldness rose in Lu Li's eyes. He used psychic power to check and found the lady called Cod in a side hall. He also saw the old man in a black robe standing behind her. Lu Li sensed that he was facing a formidable enemy. The old man behind the pretty lady might be at the complete realm. Go and get Little White and Lord Yin here. Lu Li waved his hand. Emperor of Wings left quickly. Soon, Little White and Lord Yun came together. Lord Yun had recovered some of his abilities, but he was not at his prime yet. Little White walked in casually, took a bite of a fruit, and asked, Big brother, what do you want? Have you heard of Cod? She is from the Immortal region. Luli asked. Lady Cod. Lord Yun's expression became solemn. He said at once, she is the representative of the one at the middle realm. She basically represents the one at the middle realm. She is in the side hall outside. Luli pointed to a direction and said, Lord Yun, can you check and see if you know the one at the complete realm behind her? Lord Yun used psychic power to check and nodded. I do. The one is also at the complete realm of the middle realm. I think he is here to protect Lady Cod. I see. Luli waved his hand and said, go to the back and stay there. Don't come out until I tell you. I am here to see this Lady Cod. Lord Yun said, Luli, be nice to Lady Cod. The one at the middle realm is the uncrowned king of the immortal region. Behind him is an overlord. I know that. Luli replied with a smile. Lord Yun was relieved. He walked to the back room with Little White. There was only one at the complete realm, so Luli was not afraid. What was more, Cod was not at the complete realm. Would a one at the complete realm dare to make a move here? Go and invite them in. Luli waved his hand, and Emperor of Wings went out. Soon, he came back with a lady in a white dress and an old man in a black robe. Cod walked in and took a look at Luli. She walked directly to the seat next to Luli. After she sat down, she looked at Luli and said, Luli, aren't you going to salute me? Chapter 3776. The king of the Middle Region hadn't shown himself for many years and was mostly at the Clear Lake. In recent years, Cod had been representing him. Cod represented the king of the Middle Region. Naturally, she couldn't be too low class. Otherwise, the one being looked down upon wouldn't be her, but the king of the Middle Region. For Cod, no one dared to be rude to her anywhere in the Immortal Region. Even the Realm Kings had to bow to her. Even the king of the Eastern Region, Kuin Mo, had to be polite to her because she represented the king of the Middle Region, and the king of the Middle Region represented the Emperor of Punishment. She had come all the way here, and Lu Li's subordinates had asked them to sit in the side hall for a while. Now that she was here, and Lu Li was sitting still, she was naturally unhappy. Neglecting her was the same as neglecting the Realm King of the Middle Region. How could she not show some attitude? With a smile, Luli glanced at the consummate realm behind Cod, then looked at Cod and said, Lady Cod, why should I bow to you? Cod's eyes grew cold. The perfect Realm King behind her snorted and said, How dare you? Lady Cod represents the king of the Middle Region. Being rude to Cod means being rude to the king of the Middle Region. In the entire Immortal Region, those who were rude to the king of the Middle Region are all dead now. Do you want to die too? How dare you? Luli pounded the table and said with killing intent, Who do you think you are? How dare you threaten me? Believe it or not, I will make sure you won't be able to leave the Sky Dragon City. Lu Li's hand glowed coldly. The temperature in the hall dropped drastically. Lord Yin was also alarmed and revealed his chi and energy. Cod's expression became even worse. Did Lu Li not know what the king of the Middle Region represented? Or had he already sided with Empress Yin? The perfect Realm King behind Cod was furious, but he realized that if Lu Li really wanted to keep them here, it would be very easy. Lu Li had killed more than a dozen perfect Realm Kings in one go. He was not very strong and could not compare with Bei, Xianyue, and Shu. If he really angered Lu Li, it wouldn't matter if he died, but if Cod died, it would be a big problem. Cod knew this too. She suppressed her anger. Judging from what Lu Li had done before, he must be a hothead. Didn't know about the Immortal Region? Perhaps he thought that Middle Realm Kings were the same as Bei Xianyue and the rest. He had killed 2 Realm Kings, so he looked down on Middle Realm Kings? Whoosh whoosh, Cod took a deep breath and asked, Lu Li, how much do you know about my Jing King? Lu Li said lightly, I don't know. I don't want to know either. As expected, Cod and the Great Perfection looked at each other and smiled bitterly. The Great Perfection explained, Lu Li, do you know that there are gods in this world? Of course. Lu Li shrugged and said, and then? There's a master god behind the Immortal Region, and he's also the strongest master god. The Great Perfection said proudly, and my Lord Jing is that over-God's representative in the immortal realm. In other words, my Lord Jing is the manager of the immortal realm. Now, do you know why no great perfection dares to be rude to my Lord Jing? Oh, I see, Luli said indifferently. He glanced sideways at Cod and the consummate-level deity and said, Your family's Jing Wang is the manager of the immortal region, but I'm not from the immortal region. Can you still manage the chaotic star regions? Also, no one is rude to your Lord Jing, but that doesn't mean they can't be rude to you. You don't have the right to put on airs in front of me. Good, very good. Cod was completely enraged. Her exquisite face was slightly twisted. She stood up with a flop and looked at Luli coldly. Luli, my Lord Jing wants you to go see him. He's in Middle Realm Clear Lake. If you don't come, you'll have to bear the consequences. If I don't go, will your Lord Jing kill me? Luli asked. 3 years. If you don't come in 3 years, you'll know the consequences. Cod turned and walked out. She had only taken a few steps when Luli said coldly, Did I say you can go now? Cod and the consummate-level deity were instantly filled with murderous intent. The consummate-level deity took out his supreme divine weapon. Cod turned around and said, What? Do you want us to stay? That's what I was thinking, Luli said with a smile. He looked Cod up and down and said, Lady Cod is a beauty that can topple a nation, and you have an elegant temperament. If Lady Cod is willing to stay, we can pay a visit to your family patriarch together. We will be relatives, and it will be convenient for us to visit, right? How dare you? The consummate-level deity of Middle Realm was enraged. Luli's hand became cold again. The consummate-level deity's supreme divine weapon glowed, but he didn't dare to make a move. If he did, he would die for sure. Cod might really be kept here as a wife. Ha. Cod laughed instead of being angry. She looked at Luli and said, You want to marry me? Sure. Bring the betrothal gifts and come to the Middle Realm to propose. Whoosh, with that said, Cod flew up. The consummate-level deity followed her. Their psychic power was locked on Luli, fearing that he would make a move. They didn't dare to stay at the Heaven Dragon realm any longer. They flew out of the void and took out the Spectre ship as soon as they were out. Then they flew away as fast as they could. That consummate-level deity was relieved when the ship was millions of miles away and Luli was not chasing after them. Cod sat with a gloomy face. Her eyes flickered. She was thinking about something. The consummate-level deity thought about it and asked, Lady, is Luli fearless because he is ignorant, or has he colluded with Empress Yen? I don't know, Cod said with hesitation. It is possible that he has become so strong at such a young age. He is so full of himself that he thinks he can become an overlord after a few more years of cultivation. That is why he is not afraid of an overlord. Of course, it is also possible that he is acting and has already submitted to Empress Yen. Let's wait for 3 years, Cod said, biting her teeth. If he doesn't go to the Middle Realm in 3 years, he will be courting death. By then, our forefather can just issue a king's decree and countless consummate-level deities will take action. Let's see how he dies then. At the Celestial Dragon City, Lord Yun and Lu Xiaobai came out. As soon as Lu Xiaobai came out, he gave a thumbs up and said, Boss, you are the best. Last time she came to the East King City, she didn't even look at me. How dare you talk to her like this? Lord Yun said with worry, Luli, you will offend the master of the Middle Realm. He and I are mortal enemies. Luli said calmly, Not only him, only one of us can live. Lord Yun, are you afraid? Lord Yun and Little White were scared. Little White was a careless person, but he could tell the big picture. Of course, he knew about Emperor of Punishment. That was the supreme overlord. How could Luli say he was mortal enemies with Emperor of Punishment? How? Making sure that Luli was not joking, Lord Yun asked nervously, Luli, are you out of your mind? Do you know what an overlord is? Wait, Emperor of Punishment has been in closed-door cultivation for many years. You have nothing against him. Why? I'm telling the truth, Luli said solemnly. Then he looked at Little White with a bitter smile and said, Little White, I am afraid I will have to drag you into this. Because of our relationship, We cannot get around this. Little White didn't mind Lu Li's words. He grinned and said, "If we cannot get around this, then we will not let it go. Boss, if you want to do it, then let's work together and kill Emperor of Punishment." Remember the mobile website. Chapter 3777. Hundreds of millions of miles to the northwest of the Tiangang galaxy was an area with some horrifying black holes. This area was called the Forbidden Ground of the Immortals, which meant that the Immortals were forbidden to go near this place. A Spectre ship flew over and flew into a black hole. The black hole clearly had the law of time and space, but there was no twisting force in it. The Spectre ship was not torn apart. The Spectre ship flew back and forth in the black hole. The time inside seemed to be slowed down 1,000,000 times slower than the outside. This could lead to a consequence. 1,000,000 years in the black hole might not be as good as 1 year in the outside. Astro Emperor waved his fan in the Spectre ship. An invisible ripple spread out. Then, the flow of time returned to normal. The Spectre ship flew away at a normal speed. Luli was surprised. He asked, "Astro Emperor, is this the law of time?" "Yes and no," Astro Emperor explained with a smile. "Actually, this is the entrance to the Empress of Flames universe. For average warriors, including those at the absolute peak, it will take them at least 1,000,000 years to get in. Since it is built by our Lord, then there must be a way to crack it. I have only learned the way to get in and out, which has something to do with the law of time." 1,000,000 years, Luli exclaimed. In other words, average warriors could never go to the Empress of Flames universe. Not even those at the absolute peak could live for 1,000,000 years. The one in the middle universe must have been given some treasures by Emperor of Punisher, or else he would not have lived so long. There were only 3 in the Spectre ship: Lu Li, Astro Emperor, and Blood Emperor. The others were in the interspatial artifact. Astro Emperor stated that he could not let others know about this place. He could not even say much about the Asmodean Lord. Luli would not gossip. The Spectre ship flew in the black hole for about a day. A bright opening appeared in front of them. After a while, the Spectre ship flew out and found itself in a strange world. Luli used psychic power to check. He exclaimed that this world was so beautiful, like an ocean of flowers. The mountains were undulating with all kinds of flowers. Luli could see at least 100 at a glance. These flowers looked as if they would never wither. They were a beautiful sight to behold. Astro Emperor pointed to the west and said, "Go there. There is a land called the Half Crescent. It is estimated to have a radius of hundreds of billions of miles. Your clansmen will live there in the future. Other than the Half Moon continent, your clansmen are not allowed to step into other places. There are enough divine medicines and divine materials on the Half Moon land. You should be able to feel how rich the heaven and earth spiritual energy here is." "Yes, a supreme treasure land." Luli nodded. The battleship flew on quickly. Half a month later, the battleship had crossed an inland sea and arrived at a land. There were no warriors living on this land, but there were quite a lot of beasts and beasts. Primeval forests were everywhere, with many materials and elixirs growing in them. "Good place," Luli couldn't help but exclaim. With such a good place, and the Lu family living here, it would be easy for future generations to improve their abilities. Unfortunately, there were no outsiders here, so they couldn't fight with real weapons. In terms of actual combat strength, there was definitely a gap between them and the warriors outside. "That's enough. I can live a comfortable life. What's there to regret?" Luli flew down with a smile. Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor didn't leave the battleship. They were invisible as well, not wanting others to see them. Luli's interspatial artifact glowed as warriors came out one by one. Lord Yun and Little White came out as well. They were all looking at the world with curiosity. "Wow, so many elixirs. Where is this? The Xianqi in heaven and earth is so thick. It must be thousands of times thicker than in the Heaven Crossing universe. How come I feel this is a primitive region that no living beings have ever set foot in?" The warriors on the ground were making a big noise especially the young ones. They wandered around, curious and confused. The Lu family did not have so many people. This time, Luli brought 10,000 warriors with him. Some of them were from other families, such as Yin family, Xiang family, Qi family, Grim Reaper, Yu family, and Mo family, and some other families. They were here to preserve the seed, just in case. Silence, Luli said. Everyone quieted down. To them, Luli enjoyed a high prestige. He was a man that could kill a realm master in the immortal region. Luli glanced over them and said, "You will be living on this land for a while. It may be 10 years or tens of thousands of years. Without my permission, no warrior, remember, no warrior, is allowed to leave this land. This is a land, not a universe. Once you leave this land, I promise you that you will all die, without exception. Do you understand?" "Yes," many warriors answered. Luli continued, "Here, you have two managers, my father, Lu Renhuang, and my sister, Lu Ling. They will manage you on my behalf. If you don't listen to them, they have the right to kill you on the spot. Lord Yin will be here to assume personal command. Lord Yin, please kill anyone that dares to mess around." Lord Yin nodded. Lu Renhuang and Lu Ling nodded as well. Luli continued, "You will build a city here. You will collect the elixirs here. From now on, this land will be yours. You can do whatever you want at the Half Moon Land. But anyone that dares to leave without my permission will be killed without mercy." Luli gave some more instructions. Lu Ling flew up to check the surroundings. She decided to build a simple city by the seaside and settle down for the time being. Warriors were mobilized to cut down trees and build houses. Everything was in full swing. There were many elixirs nearby, but Lu Ling had given orders not to collect them for now. There were some ferocious beasts nearby, but they were scared away by Lord Yun's energy. "Darling, where are you going?" Prajna and Bai Xiaoshuang flew over. Bai Xiaoshuang asked. Luli answered with a smile, "Don't worry. I think I will be cultivating for a long time. I will be with you during this time. As long as I have nothing to do, I will stay here." Bai Xiaoshuang was relieved to hear this, and so were the other wives and concubines that had been paying attention. They busied themselves with decorating their new home. They didn't need to build a house, but they wanted to decorate the house themselves. They also brought many daily necessities that needed to be settled down. Luli took Little White to wander around. They had gone around half of the continent. After half a month, they came back with satisfaction. There were many ferocious beasts here, but they were not strong. Saint Emperors could deal with them. Only one of the strongest beasts could be as powerful as a warrior at the consummate realm. With Lord Yin here, there would be no problem. Luli did not kill the beast. It was better to keep it alive to give the young warriors some pressure. By the time they came back, the city was in shape. Luli asked Blood Fairy to stay. Now, some divine seals had been laid out. The city was in good order. The law enforcement team and the Hall of Patriarchs had been set up. There were only 10,000 people. Lu Renhuang and Lu Ling used to be in charge of the entire Lu Alliance. "Okay," Astro Emperor said, "let them settle down. Come with me to meet Lord Yin. Well, take Little White and Qinya Zishi with you. Don't bring anyone else." Zishi, Luli was surprised. It was understandable that Little White was brought along. After all, it was a heaven-swallowing beast and Lu Li's brother. What was with Qinya Zishi? Did the devil not have a daughter? Did he want Qinya Zishi to be his adopted daughter because she was so cute? Chapter 3778. Astro Emperor didn't explain. He only said it was an order from the Asmodean Lord. Luli didn't ask more questions. He went to Qinya and Zishi and asked Little White to board the Spectre. He told Lord Yin and Lu Ling that he was leaving, and the battleship left quietly. "Brother Lu, where are we going?" Qinya Zishi was still the same. She looked like she was 4 or 5 years old, but she never grew up. Not only her body, but her emotional quotient also seemed to be unable to mature. She was just like a child. Xiaobai liked it and even reached out to pinch Zishi's face, causing Zishi to glare at him. "I'm going to see someone," Luli explained with a smile. Later, Zishi must behave and be polite. "Little White, too. This lord is my benefactor, and also the owner of this place. He is very powerful. Don't be presumptuous. Super strong? Xiaobai glanced at Star Emperor and Blood Emperor and suddenly asked, "Is this Lord and Over God?" Lu Li could kill Bei Xian and Yu Shu. Naturally, Little White would be suspicious if Lu Li was still so respectful. He was the son of the king of the eastern region, so he knew a little about the matters of the upper echelons. He knew that there were main gods alive. He had only met the Star Emperor and the Blood Emperor once in the mortal world's primal chaos purgatory, and he had no impression of them. The sudden appearance of these two mysterious perfected stage experts had caused Little White suspicions. "Don't ask what you shouldn't ask." Lu Li reprimanded him with a straight face. "Just follow them. I will let you know what you need to know." Oh, Little White was obedient to Lu Li. Even when Little White was stronger than Lu Li, it was obedient, let alone now. He was used to being obedient when he was with Lu Li. In his mind, Lu Li was like a father, a brother, and a master. He would do anything Lu Li asked without hesitation. The Star's sovereign explained, "The entire domain has 3 continents and an ocean. In the middle of the ocean, there's an island. My lord named it Heavenly Devil Island." Lu Li was speechless. The island of the second heaven was also called the Omen Island. He wondered if the Axe Demon and the others were brought back by the Devil King. In the past, when he went to the second heaven to investigate, it was still there. The battleship flew on quickly. A couple of days later, Lu Li could see the island from a distance. "All right, let's fly in." After arriving at the periphery of the island, Star Emperor gave some instructions, and the group of people left the Spectre ship and followed Star Emperor inside. The island was not large. After a while, Lu Li saw a city. There were some warriors in the city. Lu Li sensed them, and his heart skipped a beat. He had sensed many 7 tribulation sky aura bodies on the island. In the past, he and Xiang Linglong could sense each other. Therefore, he could sense the 7 tribulation sky aura bodies on the island as well. At the end of the day, they were able to sense each other because they both had a sliver of the Over God's blood within them. This was the resonance of their bloodlines. They are all experts who are infinitely close to great perfection deities, and there are more than 10 great perfection deities. Little White sensed for a while and discovered that there were at least 20 great perfection stage cultivators below. He was often with great perfection stage cultivators, so he was no stranger to their auras. His expression became solemn. He knew that the person he was about to meet was very likely to be an overgod. "This place is called Heavenly Demon City," Astro Emperor explained and then sent a message. "Some of them are from Lord Astro's faction, and some are following Lord Astro ever since." Lu Li nodded. The arrival of Astro Emperor caught the attention of many warriors. Some warriors in the city bowed to Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor. Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor must have high statuses. Many warriors turned to Lu Li. They could tell that Lu Li was a 7 tribulation sky or a body, but his realm was too low, so they didn't pay much attention. "Let's go to the back of the mountain." Astro Emperor didn't stop. He led Lu Li and the others to the back of the mountain. Behind the city was a mountain shrouded in clouds and mist. Clearly, there was a formation there. That must be where the Asmodean lived. They arrived at the back of the mountain. Astro Emperor waved his fan, and the clouds cleared up. Astro Emperor led them into the clouds. After a while, the view in front of Lu Li widened up. He saw a bamboo forest and some looming cabins in the bamboo forest. It was similar to the place where the Demon King used to live. They walked all the way to the cabins. Whoosh! All of a sudden, something came at Lu Li's head. Lu Li tried to grab it, but failed. His head was smashed by a fruit. The fruit was smashed on Lu Li's face. Little White glared at Lu Li with killing intent. Lu Li looked over as well. He saw a chubby girl on the roof. She was so cute that she looked like she was carved out of jade. Lu Li knew this girl. The first time he met the Asmodean, he was hit by this chubby girl with a fruit. This time, he was hit again. More importantly, he couldn't dodge. Lu Li sensed something was off. He waved his hand and said, "Little White, mind your manners." Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor suddenly bowed and said, "Lord Jia Luo, Lord? Lu Li's eyes were wide open. He asked, "This is an over-god?" Astro Emperor nodded and said, "Lu Li, Lu Xiaobai, Qinyazishi, come and greet Lord Jia Luo." With that said, Astro Emperor said to Lu Li, "This is Lord Jia Luo." Well, Lord Jia Luo was injured in the fight. His soul is missing a strand of the main soul. Therefore, his EQ is low and he can be childish sometimes. Lord Jia Luo is a good person. Don't take it to heart. Lu Li was speechless. He thought that since the Asmodean had an over-god with him, it would be difficult for them to fight 3 against 4. However, the over-god was missing a strand of the main soul. She was like a mentally retarded child. Could he count on her? What if she ran away in fear during the fight? Lord Jia Luo. Lu Li bowed. Lu Xiaobai and Qinya Zishi bowed as well. Jia Luo looked at them while munching on the fruit. Then, she flew away without saying a word. Soon, she was out of sight. Astro Emperor forced a smile. He led Lu Li and the others around the cabin and to the back. There was a flower bed in the back with flowers everywhere. In the middle of the flower bed was a pavilion. In the middle of the pavilion sat a lady. When Lu Li saw the lady, he felt the whole world was lit up, especially her eyes, which were as bright as the stars in the night sky. Lu Li felt it was the first time he saw the Asmodean. Somehow, the Asmodean gave him a sense of tranquility and stability. Back then, Lu Li felt the Asmodean was like an ocean with no end in sight. Now, Lu Li sensed it and realized it was the same. The Asmodean was still the Asmodean, as strong as the abyss and as vast as the sea of stars. She is indeed an over-god. Lu Li was a bit excited. This was a legendary over-god. He might not have thought much of it before, but now he felt he was in awe. Astro Emperor walked over with him. Little White looked at the Asmodean with curiosity. Astro Emperor sensed it and was surprised as well. This lady's energy was not particularly strong, but Little White felt he was facing the king of the eastern region. This meant that this lady was at least a realm king, and there was an 80% chance that she was an overgod. "Greetings, Lord." Lu Li walked over and was about to drop to one knee. The Asmodean had done him a great favor. It was only right for him to bow. The Asmodean smiled with relief and waved her hand casually. Lu Li did not kneel. She said with a smile, "Lu Li, I am happy that you have made it this far." Chapter 3779. The look in the eyes of the Demon King was like that of a kind elder watching a descendant grow up. It was comforting and warm, making Lu Li feel comfortable. Lu Li bowed at once and said, "Thank you, my lord, for your guidance and guidance." "You are wrong." The Demon King shook his head and said, "As a matter of fact, I didn't help you directly. What's more, I purposely made your path more complicated. For example, I asked you to go to the third heaven to find the dragon rebel race. That was my good intention." Lu Li, of course, would not blame the Demon King. He knew that the Demon King was trying to train him. Otherwise, why would the Demon King, an almighty immortal, pay attention to an insignificant warrior? His previous intuition was also correct. He always felt that there was a pair of invisible hands secretly controlling his life. As a matter of fact, there was a pair of hands. It was possible that they had been watching him since he was born. Since he was one of the first to come out with the 7 Tribulation physique, Astro Emperor and the others had to pay attention to Lu Li's growth. At the critical moment, they would guide Lu Li's life. In other words, they would create some troubles for Lu Li so that he would have to solve them again and again, to overcome them, to struggle, to resist, to fight, to become stronger. It had been proven that only constant battles and lingering between life and death could stimulate one's potential and grow stronger quickly. Lu Li's journey was full of bumps and bumps. Some bumps appeared by accident, and some seemed to be created and guided on purpose. The Demon King, Astro Emperor, and the others led him to a path full of thorns, bumps, and difficulties. He had stumbled along the way, fought bloody battles, and finally reached where he was today. It was indeed not easy. 7 Tribulation physique. One tribulation after another, one transformation after another, he would grow stronger. If he wasn't strong enough, he wouldn't be able to go through it. He would have died a long time ago. There was no point in becoming stronger. More than half of the tens of thousands of 7 tribulation physiques had passed away. Luli didn't have any regrets or complaints. At least, he had made it, and the Liu family had made it. The Liu family had become stronger. If they could win this time, the Liu family would stand at the top and be honored for generations to come. Moreover, he felt that this kind of life was interesting and wonderful. The Asmodean Lord smiled, but said nothing more to Lu Li. He turned to Lu Xiaobai and said, "You must be the little heaven-swallowing beast. I met your parents once. Back then, your father was not the king of the eastern region yet." Oh, a strange look appeared in Xiaobai's eyes as he asked, "My lord has seen my mother? What was my mother like?" The king of the east did not tell Little White about his mother. He only said that she had passed away. Even Lord Yin and the others were unwilling to tell him. Now that the great demon king mentioned it, Whitey was naturally very interested. The great demon king recalled and said, "Your mother's character is a bit like yours. She is an immortal beast. She is very hot, simple, straightforward, lively, and beautiful. She can't sit still. She likes to travel around and gain experience. Your father has no choice but to follow her around and cause a lot of trouble." A figure appeared in Whitey's mind. After hearing the great demon king's explanation, this figure became more and more complete. Lil White's eyes were also a little red. He had never seen his own mother in his life. This was a very sad thing. "You're not far from the consummate realm, right?" The great demon king changed the subject and got down to business. The ring on her hand glowed as a jade box appeared. "There's a rootless fruit in here. Eat it and go to closed-door cultivation. It will increase your chances of reaching the consummate realm. Also, you can learn more about the heaven-swallowing skill. Maybe you can reach a higher level than your father. If you can surpass your father, you can defeat all the consummate realm with the heaven-swallowing skill." Ah, Little White was taken aback. He looked at the great demon king and then at Luli. Luli winked at Little White and said, "What are you waiting for? Thank my lord." "Thank you, my lord." Little White thanked at once. He didn't know what the rootless fruit was, but since the great demon king had said so, she wouldn't lie to him. It was highly possible that she was an almighty immortal. Little White took over the jade box and stepped to the side. The great demon king waved to Qinya Zishi and said, "Qinya Zishi, right? Come on my side." Qinya Zishi glanced at Lu Li, who nodded. She smiled obediently and walked over. She looked at the great demon king and said, "My lord, you are so beautiful." "Ha ha." The great demon king laughed, touched Zishi's head, and said, "Even though I'm not familiar with your ancestor, we are of the same faction. Your Qinya clan is good at everything, but you can't grow up without reaching the almighty immortal realm." Ah, Lu Li and Lu Xiaobai were shocked. If it wasn't the great demon king who said this, Lu Li wouldn't believe it. Qinya Zishi's ancestor was an almighty immortal? The owner of the statue on Mount Ghost God was an almighty immortal? Lu Li finally understood why the great demon king wanted to see Qinya Zishi. He didn't expect Qinya Zishi to be a descendant of an almighty immortal. No wonder. Lu Li had a question before. Qinya Zishi wasn't from the immortal region, so why would she always dream of Mount Ghost God? The ancestor of the Qinya clan actually had such a powerful ability to send a message to a descendant from outside the immortal region. Only now did he know that she was an almighty immortal. Even though she was already dead, it was still easy for her to leave behind some arrangements. "So, sir, you are friends with Zishi's ancestor?" "Yeah, sir, you said you can cultivate to the almighty immortal realm? Even almighty immortals can cultivate to that level. My ancestor is an almighty immortal? Sir, you aren't lying to Zishi, are you?" Qinya Zishi blinked her big eyes in confusion. She didn't know much and didn't know that there were almighty immortals in this world. "Don't worry about these things." The great demon king touched Zishi's head and said, Are you willing to cultivate in seclusion for a period of time? I'll ask Star Emperor to send you to a Paragon's secret realm. You can continue to comprehend what you've learned in the Ghost God Mountain. The time flow in that secret realm is very slow. You can cultivate for 1,000,000 years inside, but only 100 years have passed outside. If you're lucky and continue to comprehend what your ancestor left behind, you'll have a chance to break through to Almighty Immortal after cultivating for 1,000,000 years. Lu Xiaobai can also go there to cultivate. Xinya Zishi blinked her eyes again. She looked at Lu Li and said, 1,000,000 years? That's a long time. Lu Li was both annoyed and amused. Only 100 years have passed outside. Zishi, thank you, sir. Little White, go and cultivate as well. Time will pass very quickly when you're cultivating. Okay, Brother Lu. Xinya Zishi smiled sweetly. She bowed to the great demon king and said, thank you, sir. Little White thanked Lu Li as well. Little White understood that Lu Li's enemies were getting stronger, and he must grow stronger as well. Otherwise, he would not be able to help Lu Li. Now that the great demon king had given him a chance, Little White must cherish it. The great demon king waved his hand and asked Astro Emperor and Blood Emperor to leave with Little White and Zishi. Zishi and Little White looked at Lu Li. Little White clenched his fists and said, Boss, wait for me. Little White, work hard. Zishi too. I hope you can become stronger after you come out. Lu Li smiled and made a cheering gesture. By then, we will fight side by side and defeat all the enemies. Chapter 3780. Little White and Zishi left. So did Blood Emperor and Astro Emperor. Only Lu Li and the Demon Master were left in the pavilion. The Demon Master pointed to a seat next to him and said, sit down and talk. I know you have many questions. I will tell you everything I can. Lu Li did not argue. He sat down and poured a cup of tea for the Demon Master and then for himself. Taking a sip, Lu Li asked, Lord, what are the chances that I can reach the major immortal realm? Not the chances. The Demon Master answered with a smile. It is the fact that you can reach the major immortal realm. It is just a matter of time. There is no doubt about that. What? Lu Li was confused. He asked in surprise, why do you say that? I am only at the Saint Sovereign realm. I don't think I can even reach the complete Saint Sovereign realm. The Demon Master took a sip of tea and said, the major immortal realm has nothing to do with the Saint Sovereign realm. Do you think that you can reach the major immortal realm by cultivating after reaching the complete Saint Sovereign realm? The complete Saint Sovereign realm is the peak in one aspect. If that is the case, I cannot become a major immortal. If I continue to cultivate, I will only reach the peak in other aspects. What does that have to do with the major immortal realm? Then, Lu Li frowned in confusion. I don't feel anything special. Is it because I have absorbed the origin of ice and snow that I have the chance to reach the major immortal realm? Yes and no. The Demon Lord looked at Lu Li's abdomen and said, as a matter of fact, when you were building the Dharma realm, you already had the potential to become an almighty god. When you absorbed the origin of ice left behind by the Ice Queen, I was certain that you could reach the level of an almighty god. Let me put it this way, whether or not you can reach the major immortal realm depends not on your realm, but whether or not you can master the force of the world. Force of the world? This was the first time Lu Li had heard of this. He had heard of forces in heaven and earth, origin of divine energy, and other miraculous powers. But he had never heard of the force of the world. The great demon king looked up at the void and said, don't think that there are countless planes in this world, divided into many heavens, small worlds, and countless mystic realms. Actually, we're all part of a big world. We're all in this big world. If you want to become an expert in this world, you have to know how to borrow the energy of this world. Hence, cultivation, innate techniques, divine inscriptions, and comprehending the various laws and innate techniques are all for the sake of comprehending the energy of this world, borrowing and controlling the energy of this world. Lu Li nodded. He understood this. He asked, is the power of the world the same as the power of heaven and earth? Wrong. The great demon king shook his head and said, "In fact, the power of heaven and earth that you are using is actually the elemental power born from the laws. As for the power of the world, it is the power of the laws." I got it. Lu Li was starting to understand. Usually, they were talking about the power born from the laws, while the demon king was talking about the power of laws. They were two completely different forces. However, he soon became confused and asked, "I can't control the power of the world? Is this cold energy a type of world energy? This is also a type of power of heaven and earth." The great demon king waved her hand, trying to figure out how to explain it to Lu Li. She thought about it and said, "Let me put it this way. Usually, a warrior's realm of Dharma is just a realm of Dharma. But your realm of Dharma can become a world. My realm of Fire Empress is a world as well. The world of ice and snow that you went to through the statue of the Ice Queen is a world as well. We control a world, and we have the power of the world. Therefore, we are the almighty immortals. In our world, we are invincible. We can kill all living beings in there with a single thought. You can think of the almighty immortals as the creator of the universe. We created the entire world. We are the masters of this world. That is the almighty immortals." Lu Li had a rough idea. He could become an almighty immortal because his realm of Dharma was special. It could evolve into a real world. Lu Li frowned. Then, he felt something was not right. He asked, "Lord, I once went to some treasured lands. Those lands should be the realms of powerful warriors that were created before they died. I feel like those supreme treasures are no different from the real world." "You still don't understand." The demon king said, "Take your realm of Dharma, for example. You can feel there are many elements in it. But can you control it? Not yet. The only thing you can do is to go in and out of your realm of Dharma. When you can control your realm of Dharma completely, for example, you can control it to release thunderbolts. You can make trees grow, mountains and rivers crumble, space tear apart. And when your realm of Dharma begins to generate the power of the world, you will become an almighty immortal." The demon king was patient. He explained it to Lu Li in detail. Lu Li listened for an hour, and he had a rough idea. The difference between an average warrior and an almighty immortal was the power of the world. The power of the world was the core of the world, the most horrifying energy in the world. In addition, after becoming a Lord God, because you have the power of the world, you can control the power of the world that corresponds to this large world. You can control the laws of this large world. You can easily shatter mountains and rivers, make realms collapse, and make living beings die silently. To become an almighty immortal, one had to be able to create a real world and control it. That was the core. Without the power of the world, one would not be an almighty immortal. One would not have the birth of an almighty immortal. The amount of power of the world determined the strength of an almighty immortal. The more power of the world you had, the more you could mobilize and the more destructive you could be. Up until now, apart from the accumulation of power over a long period of time, there was only one way to increase the power of the world. That was to integrate the power of faith. When countless beings believed in you and worshipped you, then you could have an endless supply of power of faith. The power of faith was pure energy that could be integrated with any force. That was why there were wars for the power of faith and wars between almighty immortals. Lu Li listened for a long time, but still had one question. He asked, "Then, how can I reach the level of an almighty immortal?" "Well, I don't know the details." The Demon King's answer made Lu Li speechless. She explained, "Queen of Ice and I were born from nature. We were almighty immortals when we were born. So, I don't know how regular warriors can cultivate to become almighty immortals, but I can give you some ideas." Lu Li was cheered up. "Yes, Lord. Can't your realm of Dharma absorb all kinds of strange energy?" The great Demon King said, "Go around the world and absorb more strange energies. Maybe when you absorb more of them, your Dharma realm will change and gradually evolve into a real world. When your realm of Dharma evolves and generates the power of the world, you will become a new almighty immortal." Lu Li nodded and asked, How much time do I have? 1,000 years. The Demon King sighed. If I am right, in 1,000 years at most, Emperor of Punisher will come out. By then, it will be the final battle. Either Emperor of Punisher dies, or we die. Remember the mobile website that you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.